Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the September 25th, 2024 Amityville Union Free School District Amityville Board of Education meeting. It is now 5:31 and I'm calling the meeting to order at this time. Excuse me. My name is Lisa Johnson. I'm the board president. Currently at the meeting at this time is First Vice President Carol Seahawk, Second Vice President Megan Messman, Trustees Caroline Fanning and Wendy Canestro. Leslie Kretz and Chris Naring will be coming to the meeting. Also present at this time is our Superintendent, Dr. Gina Talbot, Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operation, Ms. Olivia Watsey, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Dr. Bridget Waite, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, Ms. Mary Stevens, Legal Counsel, John Sheenan, Financial Consultant, Carl Frazier. At this point in time, it is 5:32 p.m. Can I have a motion to enter into executive session for advice from legal counsel and also matters leading to particular person's employment? We'll be doing interviews for the acting assistant principal position, as well as looking at the director for PPS. That's first notification.
Second.
Carol Seahawk is first, William Canestro is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We will resume open roughly around 7:30 this evening. Thank you. Session now at 7:57. Please note emergency exit closest to your sitting. There's no smoking on school grounds, and please silence your cell phones, and please join the Board of Education in the Pledge of Allegiance. At this point in time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Dr. Talbot.
Not working.
Thank you. Good evening once again to our board members, our colleagues, staff, and to our community. Thank you for joining us tonight. Before we begin our presentations for the evening, I want to take this opportunity to address a rumor circulating about the potential closure of Northeast Elementary School. As our community knows, thanks to the efforts of our District 11 New York State Assemblywoman, Kimberly Jean-Pierre, the district was able to secure $2 million in funding for the current school year to keep Northeast open. This was a one-time life preserver that allowed us to continue serving our younger scholars in this vital space. As we look forward, the Board of Education has been actively discussing the future of Northeast for the 2025-2026 school year, but decisions have yet to be finalized. The cost of operating the school is approximately $1.7 million annually, which allows us to provide valuable services to our youngest learners, including 7 pre-K classrooms, 3 Strive classes, and a robust support team consisting of an E&L teacher, music and art educators, physical education, a social worker, a behavioral specialist, a school psychologist, and a wonderful leading principal. As we move forward throughout the year, our board and the community will engage in meaningful conversations regarding our district plans, including the operation of Northeast. In addition, you will also receive recommendations from the district's Citizens Budget Advisory Committee in the coming months about decisions on the 2025-2026 budget. We are committed to doing everything in our power to maintain Northeast Elementary as a place of learning, growth, and joy for our youngest scholars and their families. Rest assured that this board and administration are considering every option to ensure we provide the best possible outcomes for our students and our community. As we transition to tonight's presentations, you will have the opportunity to hear from the administration at Park Elementary School, Northwest, and Northeast. And as we begin tonight's presentation, I'm going to try to get this clicker right. We did it. There is a mission that is the driver behind our why. It's the oomph that carries us and sparks us to make the difference and impact in the lives of scholars, staff, and community. And this mission reads, to create and maintain a quality, caring, educational environment, addressing academic, vocational, and social programs, and enabling students to achieve their highest potential for growth. To promote an environment that fosters respect and ethical behavior, while instilling values that enable the individual to distinguish right from wrong. The family and the community will share in this responsibility. Curiosity and compassion must be basic to the personal repertoire while we prepare our students to function as effective citizens in an ever-changing global community. We realize there are pockets and aspects where the work must get done, and we are all about the change for a better climate and a better culture. Okay, all right. I think I went a little too far. AP, I may need a little assistance here. Thank you. I think Eileen has it. We're on slide. Yes, going back to 2, 3. Thank you. So our theme this year, thank you. Our theme this year is all centered around building bridges. And building bridges means strengthening our relationships between students, parents, staff, and the community. It's about collaboration, open communication, and mutual support. This is a work that we must do together to ensure every student scholar feels connected and feels valued. Our theme is also slide 4, going back 1, about breaking barriers. There are some barriers that need breaking. This involves identifying and dismantling obstacles that hinder student success. Whether these barriers are academic, social, or emotional, our goal is to provide the support and resources needed to overcome them. SMART goals, everything is connected. Tonight, as our principals present, you are going to hear how our teams are building bridges and breaking barriers in the following areas: academics, culture and climate, attendance, student behavior, parent and family engagement. Education is all a matter of building bridges. Ralph Ellison. At this time, I'd like for you to welcome Principal Edward Palaya, Assistant Principal Paul Duguay, representing the Park Avenue Memorial Elementary School and their SMART goals and initiatives for this school year.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me, Board of Education, community members, faculty, staff, colleagues. It's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to sharing with you tonight our goals at Park Avenue and some of the ways we plan on accomplishing them. First, our focus, as Dr. Talbert said, is on academics. As everybody knows, we use our iReady scores 3 times a year. We benchmark in the fall, we check in the winter, and then again in the spring. And last year was our second year doing it. And I'm sorry, we're in our second year this year. And it's really a driver of the data that we use. So what we're measuring is typical growth. We want students to grow 1 year. That's typical growth. 1 year in reading, 1 year in math. And a reasonable expectation for growth could be 3 to 5% during a year. So we've already benchmarked the students in the fall, and then we're going to look again in the winter. But in between, of course, we use all that data to build all the skills that the students need. So when we test again in the winter, we can see where they are. Culture and climate. We survey the faculty, we look at referrals, we survey parents, we survey students, and when we look at all these things, we put them all together and we say, okay, how are we doing? And we look to improve in all those areas in 5%. Why 5%? Because some of those areas were already scoring at 95, 96, 97%, and you can't see that much growth there. So we looked at some specific areas where we said, all right, 5% growth, we can go there. So that's how we looked at climate and culture. Attendance. We have really good attendance at Park Avenue. However, we have a percentage of students who have chronic absenteeism. And we find that we know when students are chronically absent, they fall further and further and further behind. So we look really closely at overall attendance, but then we look at pockets of attendance as well. And why are students absent? Are they absent for 5 days, 10 days, 30 days at a time? And we monitor all that and provide as many supports as we possibly can throughout the year for those students. Behavior. We monitor behavior quite closely. Of course, in unstructured environments are where kids, it's where kids are kids, where they play, they have conflict, they figure things out. And most of the behavior issues don't happen in the classroom at Park Avenue. They happen in the hallways, in the bathroom, at recess. And we're talking, when I say behaviors, people think of different things. Usually it's, kids getting into some kind of conflict. And we're looking to reduce those by 30%. How are we going to do that? Because we found last year that only 2 students accounted for 40% of all the referrals in the building. So, well, if we focus on the students who are really driving the behavior, then we should be able to take care of that. Parent and family engagement. We know how important families are. We know how important the community is. And we're always reaching out to try to get parents more involved. We understand that people work multiple jobs, people work nights, they work mornings, they work afternoons, and it's very difficult to get people to be involved. Just because you don't always see parents all the time doesn't mean parents aren't involved, though. They can't always show up and be present, but we try to have as much open communication with parents as possible. We want to improve that by really having parent representatives at each grade level this year, because we're going to need all the support we can get for different layers that are going to help us out. So we're looking to improve there as well. Customer service. I think we're pretty good at it. We can always improve. We're going to greet everybody with a warm smile and a hello. We're going return phone calls as quickly as we can. And just try to be kind and polite and treat people the way we want to be treated, and hopefully have a welcoming environment when everybody comes to Park Avenue. So that's Park Avenue, and we're going to have a great year. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we will now receive Principal Kathy Highland, once again, along with Mr. Paul Duguay.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Before I begin, two things. I just want to welcome Paul Duguay to our staff. We're very excited to have him in our building. Yep. And we're looking forward to an amazing year. I also want to note that last week we had our back to school night at Northwest, and it was very well attended by enthusiastic parents. And I want to thank the teachers for creating such a welcoming atmosphere and giving the parents a glimpse into what the students will do in their classroom throughout the year. And they created a wonderful environment, and we had an amazing night. So I want to thank our staff for all of that and their hard work. So we started off by looking at, as Mr. Playa noted, we also use the iReady assessment data. We have benchmark assessments that the students take the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and the end of the year. Looking at the benchmark data, we realized that one of the areas that really needed significant improvement was vocabulary instruction. So our goal is to increase our students who attain at or above grade level reading proficiency by 5%. And we're going to do that by continuing to implement our targeted intervention instructions, but also to focus on vocabulary development strategies. And we're going to measure this success through the iReady program that we're currently using. Vocabulary development is a key component of academic success, and research does show that when students have a rich vocabulary, that they do have higher reading comprehension skills. So this is one of the reasons we're looking to focus on vocabulary. I did note some things that we're going to be focusing on, how we're going to focus on this. But one of the big things is that SAVIS, this is our second year with SAVIS, and we are looking to work with our trainers to implement some more strategies that we can utilize in the classroom to help our students with vocabulary acquisition. Our first year was really on focusing learning the program and the small group work that's available in that program. But our second year now, we're really going to focus on the vocabulary acquisition. We're also meeting with our iReady trainers to talk to us a little bit more about the resources that they have available and some of the intervention lessons that can help us with vocabulary as well. And just also as a team, the teachers will work to develop some more evidence-based strategies that they can use in the classroom, such as graphic organizers and visual aids. And we feel that these things, combined with some other interventions, will help our students, and we'll see that improvement. Of course, we put down 5% goal, but our goal is always to attain a much higher percentage. Our math goal. So at the end of the school year, we would like to increase the number of students who attain at or above grade level proficiency by 5%. Of course, we're going to use targeted interventions, but we're also looking to look at our math computational fluency strategies in addition and subtraction. And we're going to measure this success again using the iReady. Looking at the iReady data, we'll be able to see that we needed to focus on our numbers and operations and our fact fluencies. And so our teachers, we're going to dive more into the fluencies. We started these fluencies, but we have to look at some lessons that we can do in the classroom on a daily basis that will help with fluency. And so that's one of the things that we're going to focus on this year. And the other, oh, sorry, I think I went too far. And one of the other areas that we're working on is trying to incorporate our physical education teachers in these strategies and helping us during the physical education lessons so that they can work with our students, in particular on building some fluency with number sense, with doubles, with skip counting, all things that will help our students so that they can really focus their skills on higher level mathematics. Our school-wide culture and climate goal. What I'm choosing to focus on this year is in particular, because if you come into Northwest, you will see we have an amazing school culture and climate. Just walking through the building, all of our staff greets our students every day. We're open, we're available to our children, and we feel we really create a wonderful environment for our students. This year, my focus is going to be really on looking at the teachers and supporting them and helping them feel valued in the building as well and appreciated for all the hard work that they do. So I do have we have some things that we have put in place in the past, but we're looking to increase some of those, and I have some ideas here that you have in front of you. So just some more recognition of the teachers. They go above and beyond for our students, so I just want to make sure that they feel valued within the building. Attendance goal. So our attendance, we would like to increase from 91% to 93%, and we're going to utilize different strategies and measure the success using our Infinite Campus data that we have at hand. We're going to continue some of the programs that we've already put in place, but add on to that. One of the things that we'd like to do is create a recognition for improved attendance. For students who have improved attendance, we're going to recognize them with small prizes or maybe even a certificate. Our behavioral goal by the end of the school year, we want to decrease the number of incident reports by 10% from 242%, 242 to 218 by utilizing intervention strategies. One of the areas that we've been working on, and actually we had presentations today for all the students, is our PBIS. So we have a hall ready, we have a cafeteria ready, we have a bathroom ready. The kids really do a wonderful job with this. But the unstructured environment during recess time is where we have some actually additional write-ups really are during that time. So what we're looking to do is add to our PBIS and put a recess-ready program in place. So we've been working with a team in the building, and we're looking at ways that we can do that now. So that's something that we're going to continue throughout the year. And our customer service goal is really, we're going to continue what we do in the building. I mean, our staff is very welcoming to all of our families. Our secretaries do a wonderful job every day in greeting our parents respectfully. And so what I'm planning to do is just make sure that I'm making those return phone calls within a 24-hour period to parents so that they also feel valued and know that we're here for them. And that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Highland and Mr. Duguay. At this time, we will hear from Northeast Elementary School regarding their SMART goals and initiatives presented by Principal Dr. Pauline Collins.
12 in the back. Good evening, everyone. The Board of Education, our dedicated Northeast faculty and staff for their hard work and their resilience and their passion for young children, and to all our visitors and community members that are here. So it's a pleasure to stand here and talk about Northeast School and our goals and successes that we've had last year and discussing our goals for this year. So how do I work this thing? So at Northeast School, we're required by the state to have one developmental screening and a baseline academic screening. So these are the two areas in English language arts where our students typically struggle and have been identified as where we need to improve. Picture naming and rhyming are the two hardest areas for our students, most likely because our population of second language learners have significantly increased. So it's not that the students do not know what they're looking at. They might know it in another language and, what is not able to express that to us. Math is oral counting and quantity discrimination. So we're projecting that they would grow by 5% over the cohort of the last year. And because we only have one grade, that's really the only way that we could do that. We can put in strategies in place to better to increase our students' ability to succeed in these two areas. School-wide culture and climate. We have excelled in this area over the years. We've had not only by us in the building, but all the visitors and parents who come to the building always have positive comments about the warmth and the reception that they receive when they enter our doors. But of course, we will continue to work on that. We don't take that for granted, and that's something that we continue to work on. It's a challenging year. We have increased class size and with the odds that we're facing, the challenge is to maintain that positive school culture, ensuring that everybody's showing up every day in an environment where they can actually be their best for the students who come through the doors. So these are some of the ways that I try to maintain that culture by revisiting the mission of the school. Why are we here? And who we are, and kind of reminding staff that we're here for the students. We're here to give them the best quality experience that they need. And these are some of the other areas in which we're going to work on maintaining that positive school culture that we have and we hold so dear. Oops, sorry. Attendance. So attendance in the early grades is really impacted by childhood illnesses and how well we monitor. We do infection control. So and also parent education, like instilling in the parents that it is important for the students to come to school. So we try to do that by monitoring the illnesses that are reported to us, do special cleaning in different rooms once we hear. We have a procedure that we had in place even way before COVID because of the nature of young children to get sick and to be able to spread those illnesses very quickly. So we have continued with that. Whenever we hear there's an outbreak in a room, we do a special cleaning where we do all the surfaces and frequently touched areas to reduce that. And that has been very helpful to us, including early notification to staff, to parents about illnesses that we might have in the school. So we're going to continue to do that. And hopefully, the attendance will improve. Behavioral goals. So we have 126 preschoolers. 28 of them have been identified as preschoolers with disabilities. And so the challenge this year with increased class size and a reduced support is that we have to become better with our RTI process, which is a process by which we identify and provide support to students who are in need. It is a challenge because we have some reduced PPS support. So several years ago, I had the opportunity, thanks to the Board of Education, to attend a Train the Trainer program on the New York State Pre-K pyramid, SEL pyramid, so that I could turnkey the training to the teachers in the school. So I have been doing that consistently over the years. So this year, my plan is to offer that. It's a 5-module training amounting to up to 10 hours. And I usually provide that for professional development. And my plan is to do refresher training in that area to assist the teachers, in addition to partner our special educators who are in the building with gen ed teachers in the IST team so that they could share strategies with them that could help them with students who are struggling in class. So we, in addition to working with the PPS department to secure additional training for teachers and staff. Our customer service goals, parental engagement. So we excel in the area of parental engagement. We have been modeled by other schools who are looking to increase their parental engagement. In saying that, we always are looking at continue to improve and excelling in what we do. So we already have many parent events, whether it's Mother's Day tea, Father's Day picnic, our family engagement nights. But in addition to all the other things that we currently do, I'm looking the goal is to expand the use of Parent Square in terms of providing more immediate and up-to-date feedback to parents regarding events that are happening in school. So we're still planning to expand on that, and also to create like a monthly newsletter from Northeast School highlighting different things that we are doing in the school that would be sent out to parents. So that's one of our goals this year. Oops, sorry. Customer service goals. So all the schools are experiencing, our population is becoming more and more diverse. So our plan is to add more informative bilingual parent literature in the main office so parents can have information to read and browse as they wait to be serviced, and also for the secretaries to increase in their utilization of Parent Square to provide immediate feedback to parents. And we just have a little video at the end because the Northeast, we do it with a flare just to capture their first couple days in school. We're off to a great start. I just wanted to give you guys a little snapshot of those precious little faces. So thank you for your attention, but I would remiss if I did not acknowledge the Strive staff. We have the most challenging population in the district, and we have a wonderful educated, wonderful dedicated group of staff that work in those 3 rooms, and they were the first to start off the school year, and I just want to say thank you. Just a reminder that we do have the Strive program there, so thank you very much for your attention, and have a good night.
Thank you so much, Board of Education. That would conclude our presentations for tonight, and we would like to thank all of our faculty and staff for the outstanding work that you do each day. Thank you, principals, for the time that you put into your initiatives for the 24-25 school year. And that concludes our presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Talbot. Do any board members have any questions? And I'll kind of start. Mrs. Kretz, do you have any question?
I just want to thank you for 3 wonderful
Presentation.
presentations, and thank you for doing everything over and beyond what's expected, as always, in our schools. Thank you, staff, and thank you, administrators.
Mr. Neary?
Just want to second what Ms. Kretz said, and just looking forward to an exciting year.
Ms. Canestro?
Thank you for the presentations. Thank you to the staff and administrators, to echo what they say. You're at the front line of education and have the interface with the students, so we appreciate it. For anybody that didn't know, the high school and the middle school, we had presentations at the last meeting. I'm sure you could go back and watch the videos where they went over their goals and what they want to achieve for the year. So I just had a couple of things, as far as the growth for 3 to 5%, I think it's great. I said this the last meeting. I can't wait to celebrate the growth. I hope that we go past that 5%, 3 to 5%. I hope we can achieve more. The couple things, I would like to see just some consistency with the district. It's been brought to my attention by some parents with the parent-teacher conferences. It's a little different from buildings or with different teachers. Maybe we could figure out a plan where it's more uniform. And it would be nice if there were weekly emails in every building to parents, just highlights of what's happening in the week. Dr. Collins mentioned it at Northeast that they do that and they're successful. And I think it's great to keep parents in the know of what's going on, whatever the highlights are. That's a great way to keep parents engaged and in the know of what's going on. A couple of other things. So I know Megan, myself, and Chris attended the back to school event at Northwest, and there were some parents, there was a language barrier, right? So if we're talking about, breaking barriers, there are language barriers. And we were fortunate enough to have Miss Rodriguez, the AP from the high school, shout out to her, because I kind of grabbed her and we walked around talking to parents that couldn't speak English. So I know that I hope that that's in the goals too, to reach out to those parents. And something came up and they were asking if there are any English classes for these parents, and I know we were talking about parent universities and things, but there was an interest in them trying to get to know the language. I don't know if we offer it at the school district level or maybe the library. We could partner with the library. Ms. Rodriguez had mentioned in her prior district, we had the library come into the schools to partner with the parents. Maybe that's something. I know Ms. Kretz is on the library board, so that's convenient that we can mention that. But that was mentioned to us as well. And I think there's virtual backpacks on the website. I just hope those stay up to date. And other than that, I wish you all a successful year. Thank you.
Megan? Ms. Vestman, sorry.
Hi. This is working. Okay, so yes, we did see these presentations ahead of time this time around, and we had already saw the high school and the middle school presentation. So the goals are very in line. So my question might have more like explicit questions. And I wrote these down on the Mr. Playa's presentation. So I don't know.
So
You
maybe,
can come back up,
yeah,
Mr.
maybe,
Playa.
maybe we can take the questions down and then Mr. Plyer can provide the answers back to the board.
Oh.
If that will work
Is
out.
it okay if he just come talk?
Well, if there's a lot of questions,
It's not that many. It's not that many. I know
Okay,
we want to
just-
keep.
thank you.
Mr. Playa, I'm just wondering if you can clarify like what the iReady expectations are weekly? Yeah.
What are the teachers' expectations?
Yeah, the duration in math and ELA on iReady.
About 20 minutes per
Weekly.
class. Different teachers are doing it different times.
Okay, I feel like there might be some inconsistencies in that, so I
Okay.
wonder if you can look into
So-
that.
Sure.
So
Do you have any teachers
we'll
here?
make Dr. Talbot aware of it, and that way she can look into that. So, yeah.
I'm
No,
I'm not allowed to talk?
No, go ahead. I'm just saying,
Okay, okay,
we're
thank
giving
you.
we're giving the question to Dr. Talbot. She can
Okay.
follow up with the building principal,
Okay.
because it may take a little bit more
Okay,
research
and I
to
think
provide the
it's
answer.
like, for every building, not just
Sure. So
Park
like,
Avenue, this is a
how
general.
many minutes per day are the kids doing
Just like,
iReady?
what's the goal? Like, is it, is it 40 minutes a week?
So iReady, they wouldn't suggest more than 40 minutes a day, certainly not, if you look on their website or anything like that, because we don't want to do that. So 20 minutes is fine.
Yeah.
Is every teacher doing 20 minutes a day? No, probably not 20 minutes a day. But 20 minutes a day is appropriate, sure.
Okay, it's more just the consistency. I'm just curious
Okay.
about the follow-up on the consistency.
Sure,
to see.
and I can get a better number for you, but I'll ask the teachers
Okay,
how many minutes a day they're doing it,
all right, thank you.
all right?
Wait, I have more, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Okay. I think on your culture and climate page, you talked about I think you referenced a score. So I was curious to see, how do you score climate and culture?
So we surveyed parents, faculty, and students throughout the year, beginning, middle, and end of the year. And there were probably 25 different metrics on there. So if you want specific metrics, I could pull up the survey. I could show you the survey. The district probably has it. But how did we score? We scored very well, really well. I could give you some numbers off the top of the head, but I don't want to, brag up here. But, 97% said this, 98% said that, 85% said this. But we have the numbers, and then overall, but where we have to improve, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And as Dr. Collins pointed out, we're going to do, we're expected to do more with a little bit less support. So,
Sure, certainly.
with a lot less support, actually. But we're going to do it. We're going to get it done. That's why when I said 3 to 5%, that's what the National Reading Panel suggests. Reasonable circumstances. That's a reasonable expectation. Circumstances aren't so reasonable this year. So, but we're still going to get it done. But for the good folks behind me who've been here a long time, we've been through this before. We'll be through it again. We show up every day. We get it done no matter what's in front of us every single time. So I didn't give the shout out to the teachers and all my folks here showing up from Park Ave either. We had a great start, and it's not because of me, it's because of them, and it's because of the core group of people that show up every single day and get it done. We're going to get it done, folks. I know things are going to seem crazy. We're going to get it done. Might not be as pretty. We might not have the bells and whistles, but we're going to do it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. You have
Thank
anything
you,
else?
Ms. Saflaya. I did, I guess I would be interested to see if the surveys are happening in each building, because I think that's a great way to reach the parents and gauge how they're doing and where you can improve. In one of the Park Avenue slides, I was interested in the bullet about at least 4 parents be part of APTC. So I wasn't sure if that was increasing the building reps in the building. Because I do think that there might be some room for improvement there as well. And, not saying anything badly about the efforts, but to, again, engage more parents in each building. So I liked that bullet, if that's what that bullet meant. And maybe everyone can do it in each building. Do we, I guess I'm not gonna get a specific answer, but on Parent Square, it would be interested to see, do we have a percentage of the parents that are actually connected on Parent Square? How we're doing in that regard? Maybe you know that with Dr. Talbert.
Thank you so much. As it pertains to Parent Square, each building administrator has an administration page. And on their administration page, it tells them how many parents receive their messages in English, Urdu, Spanish, and a variety of other languages. It tells them how many receive their messages in emails, in text, and how many parents are not connected at all. And each school has a designated staff member who updates their Parent Square on an ongoing basis. I'm very pleased to say that at all schools, we are 85, 90, some are at 95% in contact with all of their parents. So it's consistently overnight updating as they are putting the information in on an ongoing basis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions?
I'm okay for now.
Ms. Seoff, do you have anything?
No, I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and our administrators, wonderful presentations, our staff, who I've had the honor of working with. I know what it's like being in the trenches, especially the beginning of the school year, setting goals, not only setting goals, but putting everything in place, the planning, the implementation to meet those goals. So I know the work that you guys do. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Ms. Van?
I would also just like to say thanks for everything. I believe at the start of the year is very difficult and challenging, and I appreciate all that you do. And the one thing that just jumped out at me that I really thought was awesome from Ms. Highland, incorporating math with phys ed. I just thought, great idea. I love, you know, when there's things that cross over. So great idea. So thanks, everyone.
Right, so I just want to say, I'm just going to be very brief. Thank you to Mr. Plyer and Mr. Duguay, and also to Ms. Collins, and also to, and I'm just, to Ms. Highland, as well as Mr. Duguay at Northwest. All the presentations were excellent. I look forward to the follow-up as we move through the year, because I know in the beginning you don't have the information, but as you move along, you may have to adjust your goals and what you would like to accomplish. So thank you so much for everything that you have done and for the staff that supports you in each of your buildings. So at this point,
Can I just add one more thing? I think that I'd like to see an interpreter at the assembly portion of back to school night, if we can have that moving forward, or consider having that so that the parents are kind of in the know of what's going on too and included.
thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Talbot's noting it. So at this point in time, I'm going to take community input regarding board agenda items only. So community input regarding board agenda items at this time.
Robert Playa, and I'm no relationship to the Playas. Item 2C3. There is no fee in that resolution, where all the other resolutions have a fee. Is there any reason for that?
Yes, for that particular item is an item that we're going to have to table. That's why there's no fee behind it right now.
Okay. Item 2C6. The settlement agreement with Myers. What was the issue?
I think that may be a conversation that I may not be able to give more information.
That's a litigation
Yeah.
item.
Yeah.
That's
Litigation.
not for public discussion.
Okay. Item 2C7. On the withdrawal of the mascot, are there any plans in the future on how to select a new mascot?
So I'll give it to Dr. Talbot, but I know that there's been some minor beginning discussions, but go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Yes, there are some preliminary discussions underway as to the next steps the district is taking to secure a new mascot. Mr. Farkas was instrumental in a couple of years ago having students to design a logo, if you would. And so we're going back to that as our baseline and moving forward with involving stakeholders, students, community in our next step. So you'll be hearing about it very soon. The board just made a decision to withdraw from that litigation, and so you will hear about the rollout in greater detail.
Good. Item 2B3. What is LOT?
You mean 3B,
3B.
Leaders of
3B.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. LOT. What is that?
Leaders of Tomorrow.
Leaders of tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Evan Farkas, President of the Amityville Administrators Association. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. First off, I want to give a thank you to our principals who presented tonight. You all did a great job. Mr. Duguay, you look great up here 2 times. And also, I want to give a shout out to our amazing teachers here tonight. We thank you for everything that you do. I would like to address the Leaders of Tomorrow site coordinator position. I'm sad that I actually have to come up here to address this at a public board meeting, but I'm starting to believe that it's the only way for me to be heard. And it's important that our administrators have a voice as leaders in this district, which we have continually expressed. On August 12th, Dr. Waite sent out a posting for site coordinators for the Leaders of Tomorrow program. We had already been informed by Dr. Talbert that administrators would not be considered for this role. And this was confirmed when the posting came out with no qualifications, something that existed in the past, clearly setting up for us, the administrators, not to be hired. Despite this, we continue to advocate for this position as we believed it rightfully belonged within our unit as an administrative role. In what we believe to be a sign of good faith, Dr. Talbert later informed me that if we signed a side letter of agreement, we would retain the rights to this position for 1 more year. I was initially hesitant, but I ultimately agreed because our hardworking leaders could continue this important work and receive compensation for that work, especially since we were now entering our 3rd year without a contract. On September 11th, after the position was thankfully approved by our Board of Education, I requested that the site coordinator position be reposted. Our leadership team had changed significantly due to resignations, reassignments, and new hires since the original posting on August 12th. A new posting would allow administrators in each building the opportunity to apply. I was assured this would be addressed, but despite my multiple follow-ups, no action was taken. And here we are today, with no administrators recommended as site coordinators at the high school, despite our side letter agreement. This issue could have easily been resolved, but instead, sometimes we tend to make things difficult. I truly believed we were building trust, but tonight I feel deceived. Once again, I ask that you please consider reposting this position, allowing all of our members the opportunity to apply and contribute to this important work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Winnie Cook, and I have 2 questions. One is, first, I'd like to thank the principals who did their presentation tonight. However, there's nowhere in that presentation was anything about safety. I have a personal issue because my grandkids are in the school system. I go to pick up my granddaughter at Park Avenue, and this is my 2nd year bringing it to the board. No ID is given. That's an issue for me in this day and age, and someone who has 34 years of schools. So I would like to bring that. My second request is, or question is, will we get a mid-year report based on the presentations that were done today by the different schools?
Dr. Talbot? can you
There needs
consider-
to be a follow-up. The presentation is beautiful. However, being on the inside out, it means nothing if there's no follow-up. Thank you.
So thank you, Ms. Cook, for your feedback. And yes, we will continue to hear from our building leaders in terms of benchmarks, progress, growths, and glows. So thank you for the feedback.
Diane Eglinger. I just want to follow up with what Winnie said. You said, yes, there'll be feedback, but how often will there be feedback on the presentations? Like, there should be a set time frame, I would think, where you would want to see what progress is made. You don't want to wait till May to get the feedback.
Okay, so let me clarify and quantify that I meet regularly with my administrators where we review data, we have discussions, and we monitor progress, their goals, their initiatives, and their in-house steps. As it pertains to public presentations, they will come back and present an update, but it will not be on a monthly basis or as regularly as it will be with my cabinet and I during our meetings. So there is ongoing dialogue.
Still doesn't answer my question. I understand they meet with you, but we, the public, would like to see the results happening. So what would be a time frame? Every 3 months, every 4 months, that we would see another presentation like this for the public?
So mid-year, you'll be hearing back from the principals. They are now ascertaining their baseline data using iReady. And as we had previously discussed with the board, they will come back and give us some growth measures as to how students started the year, how they are mid-year, and how they will be ending the year. There is an intentional focus on academics, and so you will be hearing from them again, mid-year and at the end of the year.
Okay, and I would also like to back up Winnie on safety. Again, she very eloquently said there was nothing about safety in those presentations. And in today's world, there should be specific instructions for everyone about safety. The principal should be teaching the staff, the students, everything. And there was nothing in those presentations. So I'm asking for another presentation to update those presentations to include safety measures in each building.
So I'm sorry that you did not hear the safety embedded in their plans because it exudes through the culture and climate. So there are culture and climate goals in every building, and tied to that are incentive plans, the student code of conduct, enforcements, embedded throughout their culture and climate initiatives. So safety is a priority. It is an area where we are intentional and are working through some of the obstacles that have been in existence. And just recently meeting with the high school and reviewing some of their step-by-step initiatives, they're very intentional about some of the inside actions that they are taking to curtail unsafe behavior. So I'm sorry that you didn't hear it loud and clear.
Maybe I'm the only, maybe
but
Winnie and I
it's-
are the only ones
it's-
that didn't hear it.
no,
Did
it's
anybody else
there.
hear it?
It's
So
there.
I think, Dr.
It's a
Talbot,
priority.
there also was there's a district-wide safety plan as well that's in existence. And also, if I recall correctly, there was a safety presentation that also occurred early on. So therefore, even though it was not embedded into their presentations tonight, there has been presentations about safety for the district, because just like you stated before, safety is at the forefront of all of our minds. So as we move forward, then what could occur is that maybe an update from that original safety presentation that was presented, that here we are on 3 months in or 4 months in, this is where we stand in terms of safety within the district.
With all due respect, I'm very familiar with what you're speaking of because I've been on health and safety committees. I've written health and safety plans. However, specifically as we speak, I can say Park Avenue, I'll go to pick up my grandchild and not one person say, "Who are you? What have I observed?" Everyone comes in and they write the child's name. Last Friday was the first day that I picked her up. My husband usually picks her up and her mom. There were 3 names of students in front of what I wrote and not a parent name who was picking up those children. If anything happened to those children, we have no way of knowing what's going on. There is no idea. I spoke to this issue last year. I spoke to the principal last year. I spoke to the superintendent. Nothing changed. And we have started this school year with the same pattern. We have children. Don't tell me we care about children when we are doing nothing to protect them. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on to something else.
No problem.
The withdrawal of the mascot litigation, can you just explain to me what happened there? From my understanding, you were with a group of other schools that were trying to fight that situation?
Correct.
So
So,
now you've withdrawn from that?
so, yes, so early in the year, the decision was by the board at that time was to fight to keep the name Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And we also said that we were not going to spend more than, I think, roughly about $18,000 in the litigation. At this point in time, there really has been no progress in terms of getting a resolution of the litigation. And we are actually a little bit over. I think we're up to like maybe 20,000 at this point in time, roughly. I may be off of my number, $23,000. And also what was shared with us, and Leo can jump in, even though he's not the one that's covering it, that we are not certain when are we gonna get an answer to the litigation. He anticipates possibly having some type of answer from the legal system, roughly, maybe, they said maybe in February, but they're not certain. But also what has happened upstate New York, there's individuals who have not been able to keep the name Warrior. So we're at in a standstill. We're not certain that we'll have a decision by the time in June of 2025, when we need to start making changes. There have been changes already occurring within the district and removal of the headdress in our district, but not the name Warrior. There's money in the budget to remove the name Warrior throughout the district. So our concern as a board was that if we stayed in the litigation and the expenses went up, we would not be guaranteed that we would win the case. That's where we were at. So that's why we're looking to withdraw from it.
And you stated there are a couple of schools upstate that did not win. They had to remove the name
There-
Warrior.
There was one that did win because they had previously received permission from the Native American tribe in that area to use the name Warrior. So they were able to keep it, but everyone else was not. So I believe it was like one other district.
So let me ask you this. If I understand there's a budget and you want to stick to that budget, that's great. I agree with that. But how was that being laid out? Did you have to lay out something monthly or something for that budget, or was it as things progress? So like my question would be, if you didn't do anything right now and just sat back and waited for New York State to make a decision, I understand you have till June. If they didn't give you a decision, they couldn't maintain you doing something by June. So you could probably delay this whole thing for eons.
So if I understand correctly, he still has to go back into court. So even though we have not gotten a decision, he still is going back into court to give different motions.
So the litigation is progressing, and it is essentially pay as you go. So
Right.
that's how it.
And if I could just say, he said it was going to be another $10,000 to $25,000 by the time we get an outcome. And he mentioned that he was a board member in another district, and his board changed the name. Changed the name from, that complied with the state. But we went over budget, and we're in a predicament where we need money. We have to free up money, and it was a decision where, we pulled out. If these districts win, we're out of it though at this point. But it was a decision as a board that, in the best interest of providing for students, that we felt the students were the priority right now. We needed the money. As people know, we just spoke about Northeast. We're making tough decisions here.
I understand that. I get it. It's just sad after all these years that we have to lose that name Warrior. But interesting enough, I don't know how much that really influences children, because I mentioned something to my son who went to high school here. And I said, "Oh, Eric, they're thinking about changing the name Warrior." He goes, "Really? Thought they did that years ago." Didn't they change it to the Tide? And I went, you know, there was a Tide
It
somewhere
was
along
tied
the way.
first, yeah.
So my suggestion is bring back Tide then. Keep it some kind of consistency. So things can kind of seem uniform.
Right.
So Tide is a great idea, I think. My other question, on the LOT teachers, the question I have is, site coordinator can also be a teacher?
Yes.
How?
There is more than one site coordinator assigned to a building and they divide the duties. So on days when they're not acting in the site coordinator role, they may be acting as teachers.
Tell me that again, please. I just want to make sure I heard it right.
For example, in one building, there may be two site coordinators who divide the duties by days. One site coordinator may not be acting in the role of site coordinator on a given day. They can act in the role of a teacher for a particular activity on that day.
And that's monitored very closely, so people don't get paid twice.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Cheryl Quintine Best, 4 Delaware Avenue. I just wanted some clarity on larger class sizes at Northeast Elementary. I know there's a cap on pre-K 18, one teacher, one educational assistant. I'm wondering if there are 2 educational assistants then, if it's a larger class size? And what happens if it's a special ed class? Is it 2 teachers and 1? Just wanted some clarity on that. And what does the larger class size look like? In terms of numbers?
So thank you, Ms. Quintine Best. Last year, our classes at Northeast were much lower, around 11, maybe 12 students in a class. This year, they are 18 students in a class with 1 teacher and 1 teaching assistant.
Thank you very much.
One last question, 2C8. Attendance at the National School Board Association. My question is, knowing the financial straits that we're in, how many delegates do you plan to send? Because if a delegate attended all the workshops for those 2 days, it would come to be $1,324 per person.
So when we get to, so to answer the question, that it's up to the school board members who wants to attend. They also have a digital presentation of $199.
Right.
So for example, I have an interest of attending in person, excuse me, but I'm not gonna, the district's not gonna pay the $529. I'm only gonna do the $199 and I'll pay the balance for myself. So instead of doing the digital, I'll go in person, but pay the difference. So I'm not too sure how many people are going.
Well, can the board set a limit on how many people can go?
It's, if that's what the board wants to do, they can set a limit on how people want to go. That's one. And there's the NISBA convention, and then there's also the voting delegate. Those are 2 separate things.
Right.
So the voting delegate is something that is done virtually. So
But there's a fee for everyone. For example,
there's a
it's $590 per member for the convention, pre-convention law seminar at $325.
right.
Pre-convention board officer academy at $260, and the digital experience at $199 per person.
Correct. So like I stated, I don't think anyone is going in person. I don't think, I have not heard. There is, I think 1 or 2 who had an interest in doing the pre-law. 1 has an interest in doing the board president
Right.
training. So yes, we can put a cap on it. Our budget is limited already, so we can't do much anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question. Right, I'm going to move forward at this. Go ahead.
Good evening. Just to clarify, as a follow-up from my statement before, are we saying that if a teacher is appointed as a site coordinator, at a building on Monday, on Tuesday, they can work as a teacher, as a Leaders of Tomorrow teacher?
Dr. Talbot.
We are.
And has that been past practice? Or is that a new policy?
So I have an issue with the use of the word past practice. This is a managerial prerogative.
Has that something that you've done before in the past?
So with respect to, the boards may make decisions, to set their, prerogatives, for each year.
We would love for transparency on that, as I just gave a statement about administrators and the belief that we have the right to those positions, especially with our side letter agreement. So to now hear that the site coordinators can work as administrators on one day and teachers on another day, that sounds problematic to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I gotta clarify that too. Diane Eglinger again. Why would a building need two site coordinators? If there's a site coordinator and that's the position, that's the position. Why is it being shared? So we have this juggling around.
Sure, Ms. Stevens?
The program runs 5 days a week, so some of our administrators are working fewer than 5 days, and therefore they share the responsibilities.
But then it doesn't, it seems to me that will get very confusing. No?
All right.
So this has been done in the past, where they share site coordinator positions. And then those people work as teachers too.
All right,
When you're not a site coordinator,
let's,
you're a teacher.
Ms. Eglinger, so just, yeah.
Okay, when they're not a site coordinator, then they're an LOT teacher, right?
That's the option that is provided this year.
So this is new.
I can't speak to the history of it.
Was it done last year?
I don't know.
I don't believe it was, but I can't say that for sure.
So why was the decision made to do that this way? I would think if if a person wants that job of site coordinator, they want that job and they would do it for the 5 days.
So I'm gonna let council respond to one part of the.
So with respect to, the side letter agreement, the side letter agreement provided for an agreed upon rate for administrators in that position. That side letter agreement, in my opinion, is being misrepresented with respect to the statement that it is exclusive unit work for the administrators, and that was confirmed with the Administrators Council.
Okay.
So with respect to this position was posted. The individuals who submitted the posting within the time frame are on the board agenda.
But the site coordinator positions are not listed as a part-time position or a shared position. They're listed for all those names as site coordinators.
Correct.
So
Mhm.
I don't think that's the way it should be done. If the job is shared, then it's shared. So there should be one site coordinator position and 2 names there. Shared position.
Okay.
No?
So they are listed as co-coordinators on the agenda. That is. the-
Yes, I know. But they're listed as a position. So I didn't count how many, but say there's 10 site coordinators. That means there are 10 site coordinator positions.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 7 co-site coordinators and there's sub-site coordinators as well. So my understanding is that, and please correct me, and Mrs. Stevens, maybe you can speak to it when it comes to the co-site coordinator. So if the co-site coordinator, say, for example, Park Avenue is not available, then that means there's a substitute site coordinator that would serve in that capacity for that day. Right, so it doesn't mean that they both will be working at the same time, but that they would, if that person is not able to do their responsibility as the co-site coordinator, then the sub would step in to do it.
So are the site coordinators a given position by building? Because it doesn't say that, does it? I'm not sure.
Yes, it's
It
by
does.
building, yes. So that's why there's 2 here on the list that are, I believe, supposed to be for the high school, but it's not listed as the high school. It's on the backup, it's there. It's on the backup. It's on the backup, it's there.
So Mary and Sue are site coordinators for the high school, right?
Okay.
Mary's gonna work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sue's gonna work Thursday, Friday, possibly, right? That's an option. So then Sue can work as a teacher Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and a site coordinator Thursday, Friday.
No. I'm going second. I don't want to speak for Ms. Stevens, that's all. So.
I think I understood your question, but we were speaking about the teachers who are being appointed as site coordinators.
So just,
right?
we can't just speak more to the mic, yeah.
There are 2 names on there that are listed under site coordinators and also as teachers. That's my question.
Correct. So to your scenario, if they're working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they can teach on Thursday and Friday
If they
if they are teachers.
Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify, if those positions are administrators, they do not teach on the days that they don't work because they are working as administrators in an administrative role.
Right.
So they would not teach on those days.
All right, so just remember the conversation stays this way.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Mr. Sheehan is correct. We did sign a side letter agreement for the amount, the rate, and that we were given the opportunity to. So him saying that, I apologize to my members because it seems as if the district tricked us into signing that agreement because it's the responsibility of the superintendent to make the recommendation so that she could still recommend us for the positions. So yes, the side letter agreement was for the rate and that we were allowed to do it. However, our argument is that administrators should be recommended for administrative positions. Thank you.
Thank you for clarification.
Hi, Faith Robinson. This is a different topic.
Is it currently on the agenda?
Yeah, it's about the presentation. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So it's about the goals of communication with parents. So I know from being at the back to school nights over the past 2 weeks that a lot of our parents are missing vital information because of the language barrier. And as being a part of the APTC, I know we have some members who have been translating, in the hallway for certain things and fundraisers, but I haven't seen anybody for the actual presentations given by administration. So we used to have bilingual administration in a lot of our elementary schools. Unfortunately, they're not here anymore. So have we hired translators for our buildings to accommodate this loss, and so that our parents who don't understand the presentations have somebody there to interpret? Because it is a lot of information that is given, and so many parents do come. But like even sitting in the classroom with other parents where English isn't the first language, I know it's so hard. They bring their children and they want their children to translate for them. But you have like 6 and 7-year-olds trying to listen to a presentation with a bunch of adults. It's not always the best scenario. So have we as a district hired translators for our buildings? And if not, what are the steps that we're taking to make sure all of our parents who don't understand English as a first language are getting all the information they need?
So Dr. Talbot, I thought that we did have translators.
Dr. Wade has the,
You just have to speak into the mic.
So the posting for translators is forthcoming, and your point is very well taken, as even mentioned earlier. We want to make sure that we're communicating accurately, or all parents can understand the expectations. So that's forthcoming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so can I, oh, I'm sorry.
My name is Namdi. My company is Medigrade. I'm a Long Island cannabis licensee. I just have a quick question. You guys started a meeting saying that Northeast is not gonna close, but you said that you're making a decision. So what's the chances of Northeast actually closing?
Dr. Talbot. do you want-
So, good evening and thank you for your question. We did open the meeting by saying there has been discussion among the board regarding the status of Northeast, and no final decision has been made. So,
Okay, so what are you guys gonna do to make sure it doesn't close? Like, what are the options?
one of the options that we are working on right now is the 4410. The application has been submitted to the state by Principal Collins. Our financial consultant, Mr. Frazier, has been working very closely with her, along with Ms. Buatsi, our business official. We will be conducting a cost analysis just from some of the interactions that we've had with other districts. There is some revenue that will come from that initiative. It appears that much of that revenue will go back into serving the students and paying for the salaries of those who will be providing the services. So how much of that will be left over to help underwrite the cost is what we are exploring right now. One of the other options that our financial consultant has been working on is renting and leasing a portion of the building. We are currently funded to serve 85 pre-K students in Northeast School. Our desire is to serve many more. And this year, we're serving 126. We received funding from the state for the program because it's called UPK. It's a state-funded pre-K program. And so we are looking as one of the other options is renting and leasing a portion of the building so that we can earn revenue to help underwrite the cost of that.
So you said that you're funded for 85 students and you have 120, over 120.
We have 126 enrolled in our program.
And that doesn't cover the budget for the year to handle Northeast?
No, unfortunately, it does not. And the State Department is aware of that. There has been much discussion with legislators about the necessity to recalculate the formula to fund pre-K. It costs much, much more to educate our youngest scholars than what they are allotting at present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Suarez. I just want to start off by saying I have a student in each one of the buildings in this district. There is one thing that I would like to not ask, but mention in terms of the presentations for Park Elementary School. I have a son who's IEP based, and I didn't see anything, or if it was said and I missed it, I apologize, but anything that gives an explanation or maybe a breakdown of how they are evaluated with iReady. My son, you know, he has speech impediments. He's obviously on the spectrum, he's autistic. So I don't know how that is accommodated for him in the school year.
Right, so Dr. Talbot's taking note of that.
Okay. Secondly, it was mentioned that each of the students in this district should feel cared and valued. I also have a daughter in this high school who was a victim of an assault last Tuesday. It's going to be a week, going on to 2 weeks, and I have not received resources for my daughter to complete schoolwork or someone reach out to her with options as to how to get her homeschooling done. My daughter is still home. Our daughters are still home healing from their injuries caused by the assailant who was an older student in the senior class. Our daughters are AP students, honor students, and they were in class and they were attacked. So my question to you is, what are the resources given to the victims of such violence on your premises?
So can I'm going to ask Dr. Talbot if you can communicate with this parent, Ms. Suarez, after the meeting and get the contact information, and also with Dr. Cardone. Right? Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, if you just leave your name and phone number with the district clerk, and we can move from there. Thank you. Right, board members, I'm going to move forward. Can I do everything together, 2A1 through 13? No. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2A1 through 13, please?
Second.
Carol Seoff is first. Megan Messon is second. Any questions regarding the minutes?
Wait, do we need our district clerk to pay attention to that? While we
Yeah,
go through this?
she's just getting,
But doesn't she have to record the votes?
yeah, but I'm also, all right, so go ahead. Go ahead, Wendy. Question. Discussion.
No, I had just let the district clerk know there were a couple of typos. I think she fixed it, right? Thank you.
Yes,
I
so-
saw that today. Thank you.
Yeah, so as well as, I've looked through the minutes extensively, so it's also good to have a second eye set. So there was quite a number of things that we corrected it before. So thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. Can I do agenda items 2C1 and 2 together?
Sure.
Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C1 and 2C2, please?
Second.
Leslie Kretz is first, Carol Seover second. Any discussion on these agenda items?
Yes, I want to speak to this.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that I'm really disappointed in how the whole RFP process for council unfolded. It was supposed to be a competitive
Talk
process.
louder.
That you can't, your mic can't go into the mic. Bring it closer.
I'm disappointed in how the process for the RFP for council unfolded. It was supposed to be competitive. We received 3 bids, and I feel that if we had allowed the more time for proposals and a wider net for proposals, we would have received 6 because there are multiple firms serving Long Island. We got 3 proposals, one from our current council, Gercio and Gercio, and 2 others. And right out of the starting gate, members of the board didn't even consider the smallest firm simply because they were small, even though they had the lowest price. Therefore, we were eager to hear from another firm that was quoting half the price of Gercio's, Ingerman and Smith, which serves many Long Island districts, 40 Long Island districts. And it was really, really disappointing when they dropped out the day that we were supposed to conduct interviews. So instead of having options, we had no options. I made several calls to other districts of similar size to Amityville, and it seemed that no one is paying more than 60 grand for retainer fees. And I just think that we could get a better price if we go back out there, and we deserve to have competitive options. So I'm not happy with how this happened.
So I'm going to also state that on July 11th, when we did the reorganization meeting, at that point in time, there was a decision by the Board of Education, after looking at policies, was brought to attention that we need to go out for RFPs. So from the July 11th meeting, we were all aware as board members that we were going out for RFPs for our legal, for our external and internal orders, as well as our claims order. The posting for each of these positions, not positions, but opportunity for companies to submit for the RFP was in the designated approval of legal postings, which is the Anvil Record and the Massapequa, and I know the names have recently changed. When we went to do the RFP, it was also posted and I always get the acronym wrong, but I believe it was the Business Office Association, am I saying it correctly? ASBO, the Association of Business Officials. And that is the posting where legal firms will look for if they want to submit an RFP. Also, the Board of Education had an opportunity, if they knew of any firms, they could also reach out to firms to also ask them to submit as well.
What?
Also,
I didn't know
yes.
that. And
Yeah.
if I had known that that was an option and I'm new.
That
So
was
this is
not-
something that I
I'm
didn't
going,
know at the time.
excuse me, I'm
and-
talking right now. So also, also what did occur was that we did get 3 responses back, even though there was one response that was, we interviewed 2 firms. There was one response that was very much lower, but also on the same token, that particular firm, when you added all the numbers up, because there was the amount for retainer that was like almost 1/3 of what was being presented. But when you added up the amount that you have to pay for other services, which was $365 an hour, and if you calculate hours, it came almost within like maybe $5,000 of what we will be getting from Gershon and Gershon. So in the other firm, they withdrew from the interviews, if I remember correctly, because the pricing that they provided was not a correct price. So I'm absolutely very comfortable with the way the RFP process went. And so go ahead, Wendy, you want to speak, or Megan, go ahead.
Sure. Sure. Do you want to go first? Okay, so I just want to speak to this. So, I had raised the issue of going out for RFPs. When you go out for RFPs, that's our fiduciary duty to the taxpayers, right? By going out to RFPs, we're promoting competition so we could get the best price for the taxpayers. You pay for this at the end of the day. So we have a policy on this, and it states that it should be advertised in trade journals, make inquiries to other districts or other appropriate sources, and that we should consider the cost of the retainer. So a couple of things. When I brought up, a law firm must have heard that we went out for RFPs and asked for an extension so that they can consider it. And at the time, we discussed it as a board and we were outvoted, and they said no, because they were comfortable with the fact that it went out to 2 local papers. There's 124 school districts on Long Island, and I don't think that all these lawyers are scouring the Amityville Record or the Massapequa Post. Interestingly enough, tonight, we approved minutes. And some of the approved minutes was from the reorg meeting that the president mentioned. And when it talked about the approved newspapers, it was also mentioned in the minutes that it did say from time to time, Newsday. We didn't advertise in Newsday, which is a county-wide paper. So we had the option, we didn't do it. We didn't advertise in a journal, and we didn't have the business official reach out to other districts. I will tell this audience now, board members, nowhere does it say board members should reach out to other districts or ask about this. It's the business official's job to do the RFPs. This is all new information. I mean, I think to sway the conversation. But in saying that, I've had the unique opportunity to have worked with all 3 of the law firms that submitted RFPs. In case anybody doesn't know, I served on 2 boards of education in 2 separate districts. So I have that unique opportunity. They all have their strengths. Having said that, I think that we're a district in financial peril. Northeast is constantly being talked about. We're trying to save Northeast. All we have to do our due diligence to the taxpayers. We're told by the financial advisor, we're going to have to go out for the next 4 years to the top of the tax cap without piercing it. I don't really want to overburden taxpayers either. I don't think that that's the solution. But here's an opportunity where we have one retainer that's one dropped out, as the president mentioned. We have one retainer that's $117,000 for both of these, labor and general counsel. And we have another retainer, the RFP was for $50,000. I mean, I don't know if this is like a common sense to me, but this is just my opinion. When there is a higher hourly rate for the lower retainer, the $50,000, here's the thing. just because one law firm may take whatever, 1,300 hours to do something, doesn't mean that the next law firm is going to take 1,300 hours to do the same exact thing. And the other thing too is like, you know, lawyers have different opinions on things and they interpret things differently. We're in this situation where things aren't great in this district. We have financial issues. We've accessed a lot of staff. We have 3 bargaining units going on. We're kind of at a stall, as was mentioned previously from a speaker. And I don't think it's a bad thing to have a fresh pair of eyes and save the taxpayers' money while we're at it.
Sorry, I'm not going to belabor the issue, but I too also argued that the RFP process was flawed. You know, and then I went to New York State's school building, school board association training, and they actually said, when you go out to RFP, to make sure that you're posting in a county-wide platform. So we didn't do that. We ended up with only 2 bids. We turned down the opportunity to extend the bid period by 1 week to get another bid. So it's just, you know, and then on top of it, the retainers are not comparable because there's a lump sum versus an hourly retainer. So it's, you know, I also argued that it would be good potentially to have a fresh set of eyes, whereas we are stalled in our negotiations.
All right, any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor?
I would like to make a motion. Can I make a motion, an intervening motion,
For,
council?
for what?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint D'Agostino Minerva as counsel for $50,000 retainer for general and labor counsel.
So.
That's not proper. The motion has been called already for this vote.
So can, all those in favor?
No.
No.
No. Yes.
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 Motion carries 4-0.
4-3.
4-3, sorry. For the external district auditor, that's the item that we're going to have to table, this particular item, because that's a discussion that we need to have. Kind of a motion to table agenda item 2C.
Wait a second. Why aren't we discussing this in public?
Oh, it's fine for me to discuss in public. So for this particular situation, there were, our external auditor that we currently have, Cullen and Danowski, they are currently in the process of doing our financial audit for the fall, and they'll do one in spring. Their payment for these 2 audits are already encumbered for the 23-24 budget. So they can finish out for this particular year, or because they're ordering last year's budget. And then what we can do as a Board of Education, we could, because I did communicate with the board that what we can do is let them complete the audit for this year and then go and have interviews with the 2 firms, actually 3 firms that submitted for the external auditors. And then they would start in the position in July 1st, 2025. So that's the discussion on this particular item.
Okay, so, again, I just got fresh out of training and, you know, we were told time and time again that the board president is not any more important than any other trustee at the table and that you just have more responsibility. And I'm concerned that you sent this email to the board with a suggestion rather than having a discussion. And then on top of it.
So I'm going to interrupt you because first and foremost, I take offense to what you're saying. I sent an email to the Board of Education making a suggestion that we have the external auditor that's working on the financial audit right now, that's already encumbered for the 23-24 school year. So they're working on the audit right now. So my suggestion to the Board of Education that is sitting here at this table, that this current financial firm could complete the audit for the fall as well as for the spring. And that as a Board of Education, that we could then go out and have interviews with the other firms. And that was just a suggestion to bring to the table tonight to have that discussion. So that's what I was doing in the email. I'm not trying to have power over anyone else, Ms. Megan Messman. I am here to lead this meeting, all right? And that's all I'm doing. So go ahead with your comment.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. But I do get reprimanded a lot by this board behind closed doors. So it's hard to take that comment. There was no offense needed in the comment.
Have I
We
ever
did-
reprimanded behind closed doors? That's all I want to hear from you. Have I
You-
ever? So go
I-
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
we had discussed, we were looking at cost competitive bids. We had discussed and agreed who we would appoint for the external district auditor. Then you came back in another meeting and you didn't really have a valid reason to change the suggestion. So I don't understand why we're not appointing as agreed for the external district auditor.
So the Board of Education requested that I reach out to the external auditors to ask them about lowering their price. Cullen and Danowski, that particular firm, are partners. So the partners were not available to meet to make a decision whether or not they could lower the price. I communicated that to the Board of Education. They also, Alan Yu, who is a representative from that company, also indicated that he's in the process of doing the financial audit for the fall and will be working on the spring for the 23-24 school year. And that money is coming out of the budget for 23-24. I reached out to Marianne and R.S. Abrams. I called her twice and I never received a phone call back in regards to the external orders and the cost. So being that the Alan Yu with this particular external audit company is in the process of completing the audit. And once again, he stated to me that another company probably would not complete the audit. I did not speak to the woman from R.S. Abrams, so I don't even know if they would complete the audit or not. So at this point in time, the suggestion that's at the table is to just let Alan Yu's company finish the audit that's coming out of the 23-24 budget that they're being paid from for the 23-24 school year. And as a school board, we can then go ahead, and if we want to switch to another company, we can switch to another company. I'm not saying that so we can still do that because they're going to complete the audit for this year.
Can I jump in a second?
Go ahead.
To Megan, I'm sorry that you were just spoken to that way. That was uncalled for. You know, when we went through these RFPs, especially the auditors as a board collectively, we were really looking at the prices. It was price driven. They're all qualified. We think, you know, that they all can get the job done. The board did ask the president to go back and see if he can lower his fee. The fact that he's had a week and a half or almost 2 weeks and he couldn't meet with his partners, I mean, that's weird. He's a partner. I again think that we're in a position where we have to save money. To Megan's point, you know, when the board president shares information, it's to share facts. And the opinion was shared, you know, what her suggestion was, which is fine if we're deliberating publicly, you know, we each get a say in this, but if only one person's responding with a suggestion and the others aren't, because we're not supposed to be deliberating by email, that becomes problematic, you know, as we did learn in the training also. I think I would like to make a motion to go with what we originally spoke to, since we couldn't get an answer on lowering the price, is to be price driven, again, for the benefit of the taxpayers, to save them money. They're all qualified. And I had written it down, which was the lowest. Hold on a second. The lowest was R.S. Abrams was 42 to 44,000. And Cullen Danowski, what we're talking about is 51,500. It's almost $10,000 more. So I would like to make a motion to appoint R.S. Abrams right now and not delay it.
Question. So if we did go to a different auditor, what would be the change in performance or results that we would be losing if we didn't go with Cullen and Dudowski?
So as I stated earlier, I had reached out to a representative for RS Abrams. I called the individual twice. She has not returned my phone call. So I don't know, the question that was, not question, what was presented to me was that another firm would not come in to complete the audit. I don't know if that's true or not.
But
So-
what is the audit that, is it not the audit that they were previously hired for last year?
Yes,
So
so,
if they were already hired for it, why wouldn't they complete it?
right.
Thank you. Thank you.
But that's what I'm asking. like,
Okay,
if-
sorry, sorry, yeah, yeah.
If they were already hired
Yes,
for
I'm
this,
sorry,
the
yeah.
last year.
Right,
And we went with another firm for this year,
but they're not.
and they're already
go ahead.
being paid for it for last year, why would they not do the job?
Right, so, I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. So yes, they would complete the audit. So the firm that would be coming in would not be coming in into July 1st of 2025. The new
You're
firm.
Chris. It doesn't change anything.
So it doesn't change anything.
Right, we could
Okay.
appoint somebody else.
So my motion is, I would like to make a motion to appoint RS Abrams as the external district auditor.
So we would have the same internal, and external, the same for the internal, external auditor?
I guess so, yeah, that's price driven.
Do I have a second for that?
Yes.
Hold on a second, Wendy was first. Caroline Fannin is second. So the motion that's on the table is to appoint RS Abrams as the external district auditor, and they would also be the internal district auditor. And you really should have two different auditors.
I
right?
really thought that we had agreed not to have the same external, internal.
We did speak of that, right?
That, right, so I don't understand why we're
So then
changing
the
that.
next one is EFRPR, which is still less than Cullen Danowski. I mean, I think that we have to look to save money, guys.
And I'm all for saving money, but I also feel that we should also interview all the other firms that have submitted. So
Sure, let's table it.
that's why I suggested to table that item.
Yeah, we can table it.
Can I have a motion to withdraw that motion, please?
Motion.
Leslie, give a second for that or someone?
Second.
Right. All those in favor to withdraw?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion to table agenda item 2C3, please?
So moved.
Second.
Carol Seoff is first, Chris Nair is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is that everyone?
Aye.
Wendy, did you say anything?
Oh, yeah, I said aye. I
All
would
right,
just,
the motion carries 7-0.
and then you have to extend it, right?
Yeah, and then we're gonna have to extend. No.
Oh, they'll just carry over? They'll
Yeah,
carry
No,
over.
they're currently working,
Right.
doing the audit,
Right.
auditing the financial statements for the 23-24 school year, and they'll continue to do that.
Right,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, can I do agenda items 2C4 through 6 together? Do you want me doing it separately?
What number?
2C4 through 2C6, can I do those together, please?
Sure.
Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C4 to 2C6, please?
Motion.
Second.
Chris Nair is first, Winnie Knessel is second. Any discussion on these items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C7, please?
Motion.
Second.
Chris Nair is first, Caroline Fannin is second. Any conversation on this item?
Yeah, I just have a question for Dr. Talbert, because at the last meeting, when we agreed to do this, Council Hutchison said that the billing for this would stop September 11th, but then we received some sort of update. It seemed like things were happening on September 13th. So I just want confirmation that we're not billed for anything after the 11th.
Well, we can confirm there's no billing after the 11th. She contacted them the night that the board voted to withdraw.
We were all here.
Yes, and
And then we got an
indicated to
update.
him that there's no other work that should go forward.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Hold on one second. Can I have a motion for, well, can I have a motion for agenda item 2CB, please? And then we'll go from there for discussion.
2C8?
2C8, 2C8, sorry. No, because, yeah,
Motion.
Second.
Chris Naren is first, Winnie Kness was second. Discussion on this particular item. So the question I have for the board, is anyone going to attend the convention or not attend the convention or do the digital meeting for it? Or attend the law conference or anything like that?
I have a question about the digital. Is that just sent to us in slides? How is that
No,
or is it live that you're watching it live?
I believe it's live. It's live, I believe it's live.
Yeah. No, I can't.
Is anyone going to the law conference?
No. No, I'm not.
No, I changed my mind on that. I can't.
All right.
Although, is there a virtual option for that one? That I'd be interested in if it's virtual. I'm not sure if it is. Can we look into that?
I'll look into it.
Approve it if it's virtual?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do that one. And then also for the voting delegate, that's for resolutions. As a Board of Education, we really should look at all the resolutions and make a decision what we're going to vote on. So a couple things can happen here. If someone wants to, it's a meeting that takes place at night. I did it last year for the first time in a long time. It's a meeting that's now virtual. It went from like 5 o'clock in the afternoon to almost 11:45 at night. And it's a virtual meeting. So I was just asking, does anyone want to be the voting delegate for the resolution meeting? And
Sounds enticing.
if not, does anyone mind if I'm the voting delegate for that meeting?
Sure, you can be.
I think you should be.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll be the voting delegate for that meeting. And I'm going to do
Did we vote on that though? Did we all say aye on that?
No, I'm not, I didn't vote on it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm probably going to try to do the digital convention, and I'll just pay for the other ones. All right, so it's all under the same, Winnie, it's all under the same,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I had a question about 9. Are we up to 9 or we're only doing 8?
No, because I'm going to do the vote. So the voting delegate was on the 9, right? So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C9, please?
Motion.
Second.
That was Chris first, Megan second. Discussion.
I don't really like to approve expenditures retroactively. This is mandated training that the new members have to take by law. Maybe we could have done it like an up to amount or something like why did we do this retroactively? Was there a way that we could have done that not retroactively?
It was because it was not put in as a resolution prior. That's what happened.
Okay,
That's why it was being done so it's something that you're correct that we don't like to do, but it was not put in, so therefore she had to.
I understand. I know you inherited a lot of stuff. Moving forward, I would like to not
Right,
approve expenditures retroactively.
right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Right, can I have a motion to amend the agenda to add agenda item 3A1, please, which is a non-resident student request?
Second.
Carol Seehoff is first, Winnie Canestro is second, and discussion occurred in executive session on this matter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I do agenda items 3B2 through 4 altogether? No, 3B1 through 3. Can I do those together? Yeah, I will. I'll do that when I get to discussion portion.
And if they're here,
Yeah.
if they could stand, great.
Yep, I'm gonna do that in the discussion portion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so Leslie Kretz is first, Winnie Canesto is second. So I'm going to read the resolutions for, I'll start with 3B1. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Dr. Gina Talbot, that the Board of Education approves the appointment of the following individual as indicated. Nicole Gigante as a special education teacher, effective date September 26, 2024. And the period will go from probationary period, September 26, 2024 to September 25th, 2028 at a rate of compensation of $84,755. And location will be Northwest School. For 3B2, be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Dr. Gina Talbot, that the Board of Education approves the appointment of the following individual as indicated. Jennifer Lopez for Director of Special Education / PPS. The tenure area is Director of Special Education / PPS. Effective date is October the 8th, 2024. Probationary period is October 8th, 2024 to October 7th, 2028. Rate of compensation is $170,000 a year. For 3B3, be resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Dr. Gina Talbot, that the Board of Education approves the appointment of the following individual as indicated. For the acting assistant principal at the high school, Paul DiCarlo. Effective date, October 28th to June 30th, October 28th, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, at a rate of $134 per year. So $134,000 per year. All right. So congratulations to each of these individuals. If you are here, if you want to stand up to be recognized. That is Paul DiCarlo, the new acting assistant principal. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 7-0. Can I do agenda items 3B4 through 3B20 together?
4 through 7, please.
Can I have a motion 4 through 7, you said,
Yes.
or 8?
No, I want to do, oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 through 7, I want to do separate.
You want to,
And then I want to do 8 and 9 separate, please. No, isn't it? Am I doing this wrong? Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
She's
I
a prin-
apologize. 4 through, what is it? I can't see. 4 through 8. Okay.
can I have a motion for agenda items 3B4 through 3B8, please?
Motion.
Carol see her first, Wendy Canestro, no, Wendy was second there. Any discussion on these items? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0.
I would like to make a motion on 8 and 9 that
No,
we.
no, not 8, 9.
No, shoot. Sorry, guys. It's late. A motion on 9 and 10 that we repost this position with qualifications.
So the motion would be to table these 2 items. The motion would be to table these 2 items.
To table the items and then to put out a posting. How do I do that?
So the motion would be to table these items.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, motion to table, 9 and 10.
Have a motion to table agenda item 3B9 and 3B10, please.
Motion.
Second.
Chris Naren is first. Megan Messman is second. Discussion on this item?
I'm just asking for it to be tabled in light of the fact that we have administrators and as co-site coordinators, except for the high school. And while it's discretion of the board, it should be consistent, and I think it is worth goodwill to table it and repost for them.
Right, I have a question for this particular, if we don't have any co-site coordinators for the high school, can the program get started? Or we have to wait until the end of October at the next board meeting?
We,
Or can the subs work? Can the subs?
we can pivot, and be ready to open on the start date. We will use sub-coordinators.
Okay. That's fine.
One other thing, if I could just mention, I think we're having a meeting on the 30th. So if there's interest before the 30th, we could have action item on that too. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 7-0. Can I do agenda items 3B 11 through 20 together?
Can we do 11 through 16, please?
We have a motion for agenda item 3B 11 through 16.
Aye. Motion.
Second.
Winnie Canestro, Chris Neeren, discussion.
Yeah, I just have a question on this. It's 6 substitute site coordinators. Are these specifically assigned to a building, each of these, or are these just 6 general substitutes?
They are general substitutes.
Okay, so if we are appointing 2, let me just see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right, we have like 7 of them, 1, 2, 7, 8, right, 7. Why would we need 6 substitutes? What are the chances that 6 people are going to be out all at one time? Can't we?
We are specifically doing it for days when we have administrative meetings. and
Okay,
a lot
that
of
was my
administrators.
question, why we're doing that. Okay, understood. Thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I do agenda item 3B 17 through 20 together?
So moved.
Second.
Winnie Canestro is first, Megan is second. Any discussion on these items?
I know it's late, but I had
That's
asked
fine.
to have like a discussion about the plan for Leaders of Tomorrow since I don't know if it just be very brief, but we are making all these appointments and there's a new director and yeah, thank you.
Okay, if I respond.
Just talk really loud.
Dr. Impagliazzo and I meet weekly, so we do have a plan for the rollout. With the site coordinators who were approved this evening, we plan to meet with them on Friday to go over what the expectations are. As far as we will be putting out as early as next week the brochures for parents to choose for their children what programs they're interested in. Dr. Impagliazzo has started an Instagram page so she can advertise. She's been at all of the back to school nights. Site coordinators will be sending home flyers and advertising within the buildings. We did, again, hear the feedback from the board and the community, and we want to be fiscally responsible as well as look for programs that are going to engage students. So the mission of the grant is to engage students in after-school programs, recognizing that the research says once they're engaged after school, they're more likely to be engaged during school. So using the feedback that we get from the programs people are choosing, that's how we decide which programs are going to run. And again, these programs are only running through December so that we can closely monitor attendance, engagement, and to hear feedback about what programs people might be interested in for the spring.
Go ahead, do you want?
I was just gonna say, and you had said previously that there would be no interruption for families, even though you're doing September to December, they would be seamless for families.
That is correct, yes.
Just 2 things. If we can put that on the website about Leaders of Tomorrow, what the programs are and so forth. And my last question is, are we offering academic intervention at all?
So there are academically based programs, so it's not called academic intervention, but there are academically based programs that were proposed as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion to table agenda item 3B 21, please?
Motion.
Chris Neeren is
Second.
first. Megan is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. Can I do agenda items 3B 22 to 3B 60 together?
Move it, yeah.
Winnie Canestros first,
Second.
Carol Seehoff a second. Any discussion on these items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3B? Can I do 3B 61 down, or does anyone need to be done separately?
Down to 93?
93.
Yes, I move it.
Can I have a motion for agenda item 3B 61 through 3B 93? Any discussion on these items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion to table agenda items 3B 94 and 3B 95, please?
Move it.
Second.
Winnie Canestros first. Megan is second. All those in, these two items were tabled because there's further discussion that needs to occur on these two items in executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. Can I do 3B 96 all the way down to 3B 128 altogether? Can I have a motion for 3B 96 through 128?
So moved.
Second.
Carol Seehoff first, Chris Neeren second. Any discussion on these agenda items?
Yeah, I have two questions. On 102 and 103, it lists clubs as middle school central treasurer and club high school central treasurer with the same person with a stipend. What is that? What kind of club is that?
I'll ask Ms. Buatsi to respond, but it's for clubs. The position is not over a club.
Yes, this is the central treasurer for the clubs at the high school and the clubs at the middle school.
So they oversee the club money? Is that what it is?
That is accurate.
Is there any reason why the club advisors aren't overseeing their own money, or is this a control put in place?
It's a control put in place. They are the
Excellent.
ones who prepare the books for the auditors.
Got you. Thank you. My second question is 109 to 110. What is Milestones Club? What is that?
Doug?
Isn't it the middle school yearbook?
I believe it's the school news.
School newspaper.
The yearbook is
Club-
in a
clubs.
separate one. It's not the yearbook.
It's
It
newspaper.
says Club Milestones.
Milestones is the school newspaper.
Right.
The school newspaper?
Newspaper.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Any other discussion on these items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I do 3C 1 through 3C 12 altogether?
No, I don't think you can. I think you have to do three separate. So can you do 1 and 2 together?
No, I can, in the discussion, I can add that portion about 3C3.
Okay, can we do 1 to 7 together, please?
Yeah, can I have a motion for agenda items 3C1 to 3C7, please?
Motion.
Second.
Winnie is first. Megan is second. For discussion, for agenda item 3C3, I just need to state that there's a request for the extension through November 20th, 2024, because of extended vacation. So
Who's on extended vacation? Can we- I-
The contact person is on extended vacation. So if you want to clarify, Dr. Talbot, Dr. Talbot's going to clarify.
So for the appointment of unemployment services, we're asking for an extension from September 26th through November 20th, 2024. We have not been able to ascertain the updated contract due to the owner being away on an extended vacation. And Ms. Buatsi, is there any more you'd like to add to that?
We'll try to reach out to him and we'll give an update on that. We tried Monday, Tuesday, and today. every day when I come to work, that's what we do. We try to reach out to him. We're not able to reach him, so.
Is there another firm, or we're stuck with this firm that doesn't answer us?
It is a unique skill that he provides. We would see if if we don't get a response from him, we'll have to put out another RFP then.
Yeah, I mean. it's
Is
not-
there something wrong with him?
It's on vacation.
He's
No.
on vacation.
So there's all, okay. So it was like, I wasn't too sure. Sometimes people say extended vacation, but there's an illness or something connected to it. So that's what I was asking.
That's a good point.
So I wasn't too sure if it was even there
We'll
maybe,
keep we'll keep checking.
yeah, I wasn't too sure if they were
He
staying
was
vacation.
supposed to return today.
Okay. So I wasn't too sure if they were staying in vacation or if they were actually. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I do 8 through,
Can we do 8 separate, please?
I have a motion for agenda item 3C8.
Motion.
Second.
Chris Neering, Wendy, discussion.
Sure, this strategic planning is $30,000, this fee. And in reading what it was, it's really to set like goals and objectives throughout the year. That's really the board's role and the Board of Education's role in collaboration with the superintendent. I consider this a non-essential expenditure. When we're tight and strapped for money, I don't think that we could afford to spend $30,000, and I would encourage us to set up a date to go over goals and objectives and the vision and the mission statement for the district amongst ourselves, please.
Any other discussion on this item?
I
Doug?
would add to that, that this was in response to an RFP, and it was the only proposal the board saw. So there was nothing to compare it to.
I don't know that we even saw the proposal, right? We saw an agreement already, and the scope of work was pretty vague, I guess, to say the least.
Dr. Talbot?
Sure. So there were 2 firms that were interviewed who responded to the RFP. And of the 2 firms, this particular firm, Performance Fact, is being recommended for the work that they have done in schools across California, Seattle, East Ramapo, particularly most recently in Uniondale, for strategic alignment. In order for the district to move forward, there is a necessity to develop a core team that will consist of stakeholders across the district to look at assessing where we are and where we are going. Year number 1 would be a year of planning, and year number 2 would be a year of implementing, and year number 3 would be a year of further implementation with some progress monitoring and evaluation. There is a need to develop structures. There's a need to further align across the district, and a strategic planning firm can come in and help expedite this process. For the fee of $30,000, it's a nominal fee for the work that we need to do to move forward as one unified group in the district. So of course, it is the board's responsibility in setting district goals. We have begun the process in terms of our local buildings aligning to superintendent's goals as we started the year. That was very important. And we want to be able to continue to build upon the process. So I'm asking the board's consideration to approve the recommendation of the strategic planning firm to assist us in moving forward.
And the last time there was a strategic planning firm was, do we know when?
To my knowledge, it was 2016, unless someone else has more updated information as we've researched. That's my findings.
And that went for how long that the plan was implemented in? Do we know?
It was 3 to 5 years.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? You're saying it would be $30,000 for 3 years?
$30,000 for year 1,
And then
$30,000 for year 2, $30,000 for year 3.
what's the deliverable?
The
Because- and the-
deliverable for year one is a year of planning.
A year of planning, so there's nothing, is it a memo?
A
Is
memo?
it a discussion? It's like meetings?
It's a series of meetings, it's a series of analyzing data, it's a series of interviews, it's a series of interacting with administrators, faculty, staff, teachers. It's a series that will allow us to develop a common vision to analyze the mission, which was developed in 2016 by the last strategic planning firm. We have developed the portrait of a graduate. There are some updates that we need to make and align our plan to move forward. And this strategic firm is skilled in this meaningful work to enable us to have some successful accomplishments and further focus in on our goals of our district and organization.
I'd like to jump in here a second. So again, it's the role of the Board of Education in collaboration with the superintendent, administrators, whoever else we would want on this, to go over the vision, the mission, and the goals of the district. Who better than to do it for the people that are here? It's $30,000 a year, and we are in a situation where we don't have enough teachers. We have 3 open contracts. We're trying to save Northeast, and I don't think that this should be a priority. I feel like we continually hire other people to do the main person's job. Why can't we just do our job? I think that if we can work together towards the goals are important. We haven't done that. There seems to be some, I don't know, delays in getting meetings on the calendar for certain things. I think this should be a priority. And I think I'm not really interested in giving my authority away for somebody else to do it when I'm completely capable of doing this job along with my colleagues.
Chris?
So this company is based out of California, that they're going to be effective at holding meetings with people on a local basis? Is it going to be done remotely, or are they?
A combination of remote and on-site. The work that is being done really extends beyond the capacity of the Board of Education to do the work. There's processes for discovering root causes. There are a series of meetings and discussions that must be ongoing and held on a regular basis. There's an empowerment needed to build an infrastructure in the district of Amityville, and it's going to require a lot of rolling up your sleeves, a lot of time, a lot of investment of energy. We have to look at student learning. We have to look at our instructional effectiveness. We have to look at our infrastructures. We need to focus on core values and pillars in which we're going to build. And while this board is very invested, this work extends beyond the capabilities of what it's going to require. And we are asking for the support to be able to move forward to accomplish this work that is before us.
Is it possible that with this plan that we could look at potentially 1 year, see how it goes, and then
Yes.
then go forward
Yes,
instead of doing it for 3 years?
this is 1 year.
Oh.
Also,
We're only putting before you 1 year,
This is just it's just for 1 year.
1 year.
Are there any local firms that do this same job that could maybe be more effective and in tune with at least the community?
The reviews that we have received from other districts that we have spoken to, they speak very highly of the firm, although they're in California. The other firm that we interviewed was also located
I think that was in Chicago too.
Chicago. No one who was local responded to the RFP process.
So I have 2 things. The name of this company is Performance Fact, and I had looked it up, and I didn't see any clients in New York. I don't know if they didn't update it, but it's not there. And I didn't see any resolutions before the board to approve this RFP. Was there a resolution to approve the RFP?
A resolution to approve the RFP.
Right, so we have resolutions to approve RFP. We just went through this. There was no resolution to even authorize this RFP.
I don't think need a resolution for strategic planner, right?
No, your policy provides, 6740 provides for the superintendent to put out the RFP,
Right.
as noted previously. So there's no board authority necessary to put out the RFP. There's only the board, the superintendent makes a recommendation. The board's requirement is to approve the service.
Or not approved, yeah.
Yeah.
Leslie, did you have a question?
How many other local school districts use this company?
To my
From-
knowledge, Uniondale, the only other one in New York that I'm aware of is East Ramapo. And the other districts we spoke with were in Seattle, California,
Rochester.
and Rochester.
Not to
The
be
only-
repetitive, but I'd rather just put the money towards bringing back an aide or something in a classroom.
The only strategic planning that was discussed at NISBA was financial planning, so I think that that would be more conducive here as well, so.
Any other questions or comments on this? All those in favor? No, what are you saying, Ms. Hill?
No, I'm waiting for you
I
to say all
think
those in
we
favor.
should table it for further discussion at this point.
There's already a motion on the table, isn't there?
There's a motion that's on the table. So all those in favor?
Okay,
All those opposed?
aye.
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 Motion fails 0-7. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3D? Can I do 9 through 12 together?
Yes.
Motion for agenda item 3D 9 through 12?
Motion.
Winnie Knessel is first, Leslie is second. Any discussion on these items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C13, A, B, F, and G, please?
Motion, second.
I think I heard, was it Carol down there first? or- Caroline is first. Megan is second, right? All those in favor? You have the items in front of everyone?
Okay, I don't have.
Wait, I have it here. Did you have a first and a second?
Yeah, I did. I just want to make sure everyone, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion for 3C13, C, D, and E?
Motion.
Winnie Knessel is first, Carol is second. Any discussion on this item?
Due to my involvement with Amityville Soccer League, I am recusing myself from the vote.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And one recuse. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C13, please? I mean, 3C13H, sorry, 3C13H.
Motion.
Second.
Chris Nearen and Winnie Knessel, discussion?
I just have to recuse myself, as a troop leader.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries and one recuse, 6-1. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3D1, please?
Motion.
Second.
Wait, 3D. Where's that?
Chris Nearen is first, Megan is second. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion for agenda items 3E1 through 9, please?
Motion.
Second.
Winnie's first, Chris is second. Any discussion on these items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3F1, please?
Second.
Carol first, Winnie second. Any discussion on these items?
A couple of them says they're consortium seat. Is there any fee for that?
Is already paid?
I mean, is there a fee to us?
There's no additional fee. It's already a part of our BOCES consortium.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Prepaid.
All those in favor?
I,
My motion carries 7-0. Any old or new business?
yeah, for old business. I just want to bring up something about the middle school. Parents have shared with me, and I know that I brought it up at the last meeting. Two things, the dance, there's punitive academic, like, if your grades are on a certain level, you're excluded from the dance. I don't think that's in line with the goals that just went up there about climate and culture and engaging students and engaging parents. As a Board of Education, we can change that. A dance is an enhancement. I don't think there should be, any kid should be academically penalized for that. They're probably embarrassed as it is. Some kids might not be good test takers. They might struggle. It just further isolates them from their peers. As a Board of Education, I think we should abolish that. I'm asking for my board members if we can we, President, what do you think about that? That's the first thing.
For me personally, I don't want to step on the toes of the building administrators. I believe that we're giving it to our superintendent. It's up to our superintendent to speak to the building administrators about the concern that the Board of Education is having. And then from that point, she can communicate back to us and let us know that we have spoken, you have spoken in public about it, where there's a concern about students not being able to attend.
But we do have that authority to abolish it. It's the Board of Education sets policies and procedures. I don't think it's in the best interest of children.
So like I said, I believe, I'm not in disagreement with you, but I believe that we give it to our superintendent, have the superintendent speak to the building principal, and then and then she can get superintendent get back to us. If at that point in time, there's a difference in opinion, then at that time we can address it, but allow the superintendent to speak to the building principal about this particular matter that's been brought to.
Sure, I understand what you're saying, but I would like to get a vote on this because we have the authority to abolish this.
Has there been a planned dance with these requirements yet? I know that it's been happening in the past.
Right.
Don't know if that's been set for this year yet.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, that let the superintendent have the conversation with the building principal about it.
I agree.
And then if there's something that the building principal is adamant about doing, then she can bring it back to the Board of Education, and from that point, we can make our decision of what we're gonna do.
Okay, and
It's not just a decision. There's a lot more that's attached to this and reasons behind it. So it's not just a decision or a vote.
the Board of Education sets policies and procedures. Okay,
Exactly, but
This
you
is
have to
this
look
is-
at all the information that goes with it and why those decisions
Sure.
are made.
So maybe this would be something that we discuss at our policy committee meetings.
Yeah. Or,
great.
but I don't think, my concern would be that it should be at the building level making that particular decision. And once again, Dr. Talbot is a leader of our district. She needs to speak to the building principal and have a conversation on it. And then we can go from there.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but just to be clear, the board does set policies and procedures. I know we
Correct.
keep saying the same thing. We're saying kick it down and let them do it, but we set the policies and procedures. Just to move on from there with the middle school, sports, many parents have said that the children are not allowed to attend the sports without a parent in attendance. This brings up a few issues. We're paying supervisors and security to be there, but we're keeping children out. Again, I don't think it's in a line with climate and culture to have all children, basically you're all excluded unless you have a parent. Like, I just think we have to move away from this punitive point of view. If a child has behavior issues, and I recognize it, and sometimes they're repeat offenders, and I'm not naive to this. However, as a school district, there are consequences. If a child serves the consequences, it's a fresh day. Isn't this what our educators teach the kids? Every day is a fresh day. Every day is a new start. You cannot continue to punish children every day when they've already paid the price for something. I think, again, I don't know that this is in the best interest of children. I wanted to raise this. Again, if you want to go back to the superintendent, have them look at this. I am just really trying to, change the culture of being punitive. As far as new business, let me just say, I think I'm almost done. Oh, that was old business. That was old business? It's old business. Okay, yeah, I'm done.
I have, I just want to speak really quickly to old business, to the energy performance contracts, because I did speak to that at length and on September 11th. So Honeywell was listening in that night, so we heard from Honeywell the next day because I had asked many questions, and I did speak correctly that, on average, after the first couple of years, the energy performance contract will cost $1 million with a $500,000 savings. But the missing piece that we didn't know that night was that the state aid would be the additional $500,000. So it will be a wash for the first several years. It's about 10 years. It will not necessarily be a revenue stream because of the savings, with the exception of the first year of the energy performance contract because of the various improvements with the solar panels and whatever else. I didn't actually get a breakdown of the incentive calculation, but there is a significant, $1 million incentive in the first year of the energy performance contract. And then beyond that, it is, we get the benefit of upgrading, major components of the infrastructure with the, rooftop units at Northwest, solar panels, lighting, and other controls and other upgrades, but it's not necessarily like a positive revenue stream until like year 10. So I just wanted to clarify that because I did speak at length, and the missing piece was that we did not have the state aid numbers available that night.
So under old business, I'm just going to speak to the Citizens Budget Advisory Committee. The application process closed out on Monday, September 23rd at 2 p.m. At that point in time, there were a total of 18 individuals who had submitted. And then after 2 p.m., there were 3 names that came in. And actually one came in yesterday. So this Citizens Budget Advisory Committee was something that first came as a discussion back in roughly about February of 2024. That I think I mentioned, or one of us mentioned about having a Citizens Budget Advisory Committee, and then Carl Fergie had come in and mentioned that he had been involved with something like this in his previous district of East Islip. So it did come to fruition where the application was posted. Applications were submitted in. The original proposal was to have up to about 15 individuals on the committee. My recommendation to the Board of Education is to go ahead and take all 18 names that have submitted. So, some people may stay in, some may drop off from being on the committee. So that's my recommendation, is that we keep all 18 names that have been submitted. So I just want to discuss it with the board.
I think the more people involved, the better. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that as
Yeah.
well.
So any other?
It's everybody that met the deadline. That's what the
Everyone
rest of
that,
the
all 18 met the deadline. There are 3 who did not meet the deadline. So, I don't know if we want to consider the 3 as alternates or just go with 18.
I think the ones that stayed within the deadline is fine. We're already over.
Chris, Leslie, Caroline.
Fine.
Yeah, works for me. Sounds good.
All right, so we're good with the 18. Do I need to mention names now, or do we do it? Or you're gonna?
I will follow up with what was just said. I'm going horse here. But as a follow through for this now, would the board like me to contact each of these individuals, the 18, or someone else would be doing this?
You can contact them, that's fine.
And then next month, the 23rd of October, these individuals would be appointed by the board officially.
Correct.
And on November 12th, the first meeting will be scheduled.
Correct, and at 7
o'clock.
7 o'clock. And from after that, then the committee will determine the days and times for the meetings, if I remember correctly.
Excuse me?
After the November meeting, the committee will determine the days and times of
That's correct.
previous. Okay. Any other questions regarding this?
No questions, but thank you for those that submitted and are going to be participating.
Yeah, thank you for everybody who submitted and will be part of this. And thank you to Mr. Frazier for heading it.
All right, I'm up to community input.
New business.
New business,
I'm sorry, new business. I thought we were,
sorry.
sorry about that. Not yet. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. New business first.
Two things, I'll try to be quick. In doing all the homework to prepare for the superintendent's evaluation, I saw my first beta report, violence and disruptive incidents report. And the numbers didn't seem accurate, just one assault in 2021, 2020, 2022, 2023. So we asked for additional reports, and the numbers seem very low. We do hear about fights all the time. I imagine the two moms here can attest to that. So my question is administration confident that those reports are accurate? And if they're not, what are the ramifications for sending to NICID inaccurate reporting?
So the building administration reviews their data and the reports are completed based upon how the data is categorized. So there is a definition that defines certain infractions. And so based on that, the incidents are categorized and submitted on the report.
Do you feel like that reflects the reality of like the student experience? Do you feel like it affects the reality of the student experience, what those reports show?
So
Because I can
those-
tell you as a parent of a middle schooler and a high schooler, it didn't feel accurate at all.
Of course, we can look at those, but those are reports that reflected 4 years, from 4 years ago. The last 4 years. I believe 2021, 2022, I'm not sure, but the reports were reflecting the last 3 to 4 years. You said 2022, 23.
It was 3 years. It was 2020 to 2021, and then 21, 22, 22, 23.
Up until last year.
Or maybe I'm off by a year,
Yeah.
but.
There's
Up until
Four-
last
I
year.
four
just
years
want to
or
feel
another.
confident that, you know, when we're recording data, it's accurate. And if it's getting sent to NICID, you know, it's accurate because you want to think that we're putting in the effort of making these recordings for a reason and that we're not denying ourselves assistance intervention that we might qualify for.
The one that stood out to me on that report was incidents involving weapons. Each year, so 20 to 21 was 3, 21 to 22 was 0, 22 to 23 was 11, and then 23 to 24 was 3. So, and I'm not saying it's impossible that it could go like a large jump like that.
Well, 0 was
Uh,
probably COVID year.
Can-
Can I make a recommendation that the data be provided to the Board of Education on a weekly basis of the violence or the fights so that we're in the know of what's going on per building? And I don't mean scuffles, I mean serious fights, I mean violence, assaults.
So Winnie, just quick question. So we are notified, when there is like, I would say a major altercation that occurs in the building, not a, you know what I'm saying? So
I
my
think we were
question is
only,
just-
yeah, but I think we were only told of one fight last week and there were 2 that the police responded to.
Oh, okay, so, thank you, just for clarification, because I know that
Yeah.
we do get information from the superintendent about fights that occur in the building.
Yeah.
So the incident that was reported, it was one incident, but there were 3 students involved in the one incident. So
I don't know,
The-
videos were sent to me, there was one in a classroom and one in a hallway.
Yeah. So, yeah, sorry, I'm sorry, you can't speak out from the audience, sorry.
I
So
really am just saying it so that for our informational purposes, so we're aware, I understand. But,
Okay.
you know, I was surprised to see there were 2 fights and we were only alerted to 1. So I'm just saying for informational purposes, so the Board of Education can monitor this, right? The children are entitled to a quality education in a safe environment. We have to provide that. And the staff has to be safe as well. I think it's something that has to be reviewed of how we can achieve that. I know that we just hired another AP at the high school, so I think we're moving towards that goal. But again, it's important that the Board of Education stay apprised.
Thank you. Any other,
Be simply handled by having incident
you guys,
report.
you got to speak more to the mic because I can't.
I think it can be simply handled by having incident reports included in the Friday transmittals.
Great, I agree.
And my last question, or, sorry.
I
different-
just wanted to, Madam President, if I can take that back to my administrators. Let's discuss a system that is manageable and consistent and uniform so that we can report it properly. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
My other question was an update, Dr. Talbert, if you have about the search for a part-time fine arts director.
So the posting closed today. And Dr. Wade, we have a total of
10 applicants.
10 applicants. So interviews will begin shortly.
Thank you.
Does that include in-house applicants as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else before I take community input?
No, well, yeah, are you going down the line or, yeah, because.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you guys had already said something, so go ahead.
For Health and Safety Committee, I just want to note, and I'm not sure where this is going to go on the agenda in the future, committee updates, but we are moving towards setting up a Health and Safety Committee with a draft agenda and a potential early October 1st meeting. So that is moving as far as a committee update. I did note that we went at, NISBA training the other day, and a couple of things I jotted down. They did discourage the buzzer and the timer for the public speakers, so we did that today, and I think that the community was probably receptive to that, so that was nice. They spoke about, making sure each committee has a charter and making it available to the community, so maybe leveraging our website with that information going forward. I did hear also in just talking with other, trustees from other school districts are beginning their budget process in October, so we are getting there. We have our budget committee established now for November, then we'll start our 2025 budget. There was also discussion about communication from superintendent, and in talking with these trustees in a casual setting, they are able to communicate directly with their superintendent, text message, email, whenever they need, with readily responded to. So, that was a little bit surprising to me because Dr. Talbot, you presented that you were not going to respond to our emails, and you were going to do it only on a weekly basis. So I was hoping to just talk about that a little bit more, just to get maybe a little bit more granular, that maybe there's at least, some emails that you can say, it's going to take me a couple of days to get back to, or, others that you would obviously, might be more urgent that you would prioritize. Because to say that just like a blanket statement that, we would only hear back from you on Friday, unless I misunderstood your comment there. And maybe we can just talk about that, because I think that, it's more conducive for the board trustees to be able to keep up with everything that's going on, to have like a more free-flowing conversation with you as needed. So I don't know if you could just speak to that a little bit.
Sure. My statement to the board was for non-emergency emails that I would respond in the Friday transmittal and news and notes that's sent home to the board every Friday. Even in making that statement, I have been consistent in responding to the board's emails within 24 hours, 48 hours, for the most part. And there is an exerted effort to respond timely. You called me today. I was on a phone call. As soon as I finished, I returned your call. Whenever someone reaches out, I make a concerted effort to get back to you timely. The multiple requests for information, my cabinet and I prioritize your requests and get back to you as quickly as we can. There's never a shunning or shying away from communication. So if we want to talk more about protocols, we can certainly do that, and it's welcome.
Thank you for clarifying. Maybe I read it quickly, that it was gonna be all communication on Friday. When I called, your cell phone said, just so you know, I didn't ring. And it said that the voicemail wasn't set up, just so, I don't know, just so you know, I don't know if you ever heard that feedback before, but.
It's set up.
But I did get you, and I appreciate that you followed up, and we did speak this morning, so. But I guess over the weekends, there was communication, because we had heard that students were injured and we had not been notified, so, that being a more urgent request, to follow up, even though it was the weekend, and we appreciate that.
Right. So the day that we were informed there was an incident, we informed the board. There were inquiries about the extent of the injuries. And as we discovered and learned more, we communicated. We communicated with the administration. We were privy to investigations. We have talked to a number of people about what was transpiring, and as we received accurate information. There's a lot of information going around, but I wanted to make sure that I reported accurate information back to the board. And so that's the steps that we took to get back to you.
So I have a few things. I just wanted to add on that. Yeah, I was surprised when we got a memo, in the Friday packet saying that effective immediately, I won't be responding to anything that's not urgent, and it will go in the Friday memo. The Board of Education only has one employee, which is the superintendent, where we set the expectations, not the other way around. And we just watched all of these presentations of administrators saying, we're going to get back to parents in 24 hours. But the Board of Education doesn't have the same courtesy. I think it's really important that, if we're asking questions, they're important questions. And it also speaks to accountability, right? We hold the superintendent accountable. The superintendent is the CEO over everybody else, but that's our job. If I'm asking a question, I do expect an answer. I expect the courtesy of an answer. I asked on Saturday, there was some conflicting information that there was some serious injuries. I didn't get an answer until Monday. I don't know what's more important than the health and safety and welfare of our children. That's urgent. That needs an immediate response. So in working forward and moving forward, I do think that the Board of Education should be responded to, because this trickles down. If our superintendent is saying, you know what, I'll get back to you on Friday, what are we saying to our administrators? What are we saying to our teachers? It's already, the message is, you can wait till Friday. It's not urgent. We set the tone of the district. The Board of Education sets the tone of the district. The tone of the district is accountability of everybody in their job, everybody doing their job. Emails are part of the job. Answering questions are part of the job, whether it's building administrators to your staff or your parents, whether it's teachers to your parents, and whether it's the superintendent to the Board of Education. So that's the first thing. Moving forward, I would like to see, I will say that, there was improvement in August, and then we went back to this once a month, once a week thing, which, I think that's abdicating our authority as a Board of Education of what we're here for. We're here for oversight and accountability. The second caveat to that is, I went to the training with Megan, Caroline, and Chris, and it was funny. The buzzer and the timer was one of the first things they spoke about. But they also spoke to, it did come up about the board president too, right? So the board president is a facilitator of meetings, and they have more responsibilities. But the board president isn't they don't get the final say. And, it's important that we know that we're 7 voices, or that people know that there's 7 voices on this board. So just to go back to Honeywell, we have 4 new members of this Board of Education. So that's 60% of the board change. We didn't really understand. I was in the audience and I didn't understand it. The presentation was cut short. I think it was a couple of years ago when we did it. So we needed to understand. Honeywell did send emails, to Megan's point, and we really couldn't get a grasp to understand what was going on. So Honeywell wrote to the Board of Education. And a couple of members said, thank you so much. It's important that people know, the other members know why we did this. Megan had a lot of questions and I had a lot of questions too. I needed to understand what the questions were. If you're asking me to vote on something, if it's the public's money being used for something, I need to be proficient and understand it. I'm not just saying yes to anything. So we were answering in real time. Well, when we had a meeting, we got admonished that, everything has to go through the board president. I will tell you that I was a Board of Education president in my past district, and I did not choose to lead that way. I did not choose to micromanage that way. Every board president does it different, but it is a conversation for the Board of Education to decide. It cannot just go, this is how it's always been done, or this is how we're going to do it. It's a discussion for the Board of Education, and that's how we progress, that's how we work efficiently, and that's how we collaborate. So in saying that, I went through the board president and I asked a question. We have to understand, is it New York State ed approved? The question got misconstrued. The right question wasn't asked because I had to funnel it through somebody else. It was far more efficient if I just asked the question. So in saying that, the Board of Education should have a discussion of how we want to move forward. We are all equal members on this Board of Education. Yes, the board president facilitates the meeting. The board president does the agenda. They also said at training, anytime the Board of Education president meets with the superintendent, meets with the district clerk, meets with any administrator, she's to report back to the rest of the board. What were the conversations? What was said? What was the outcome? That's not happening. So we need there to be, and if you're talking to council on the phone, there needs to be a recap. Sometimes there is, but there just needs to be a recap more consistently on that. Also on new business, I just brought 2 things. We keep talking about Northeast. Obviously, that's a really important piece in our district. We service a lot of kids and kids in need. And, we didn't have funding for all of these children. So there's a need there, but it keeps coming up. We're kind of in the hole. We don't have this $2 million. We're not going to get it again. And we keep going around in a circle of what we're going to do. I know that I had made the suggestion before of having an alternative high school there, maybe housed there for behavioral issues, for anxiety issues, alternate learning, a different learning environment. I think Dr. Talbert was going to look into that. But one of the other things is, this isn't required, but it is recommended by the state. If there's any consideration in closing a building, they suggest having an advisory committee formed at least 6 months before. I looked into it. It's 402A is the law. And what they do is you have a committee of all stakeholders, whether it's board members, administrators, teachers, parents, homeowners, businesses. And what you do is you go through and you see what the educational impact would be if you close a school. That committee then makes the recommendation to the Board of Education. But we just kind of keep talking, and I would really like stakeholders to be part of this conversation and included in this so that they have a say and they can look into this. I just think it's important to have all voices on this, and I think it's something that we should explore doing. Okay, I'll keep going.
No, I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay, no, thank you. So just a couple of other things. We have a policy for a Board of Education evaluation. That's to monitor how we're doing, if we're doing it efficiently. I don't know that we've ever done one or haven't done one in a couple of years. I think I foiled for that. We hadn't got it. I think I would recommend doing that because we need to work effectively and collaborate together and get past any personalities or gripes or anything. We're all here with the common thread of the students, putting students first and doing what's best for children. I would recommend doing that. The back to school event, I went to Northwest. I spoke to probably 80% of the parents that were there. Megan was there, Chris was there, Caroline was there. And there was a big language barrier. There were parents and families sitting separate from each other, which kind of made me sad because, right, it's a big back to school event. I would expect the superintendent of schools to be at a back-to-school event, but she wasn't there. That would, I think that's important visibility for something like
At
that.
Northwest?
At
I was
Northwest.
present. Yes, ma'am.
I was there for 2 hours. I didn't see
She
you.
was there.
Okay, I apologize then. I publicly apologize for that. I didn't see you when I was there. But a couple of things that came up when the discussions with the parents were the English conversation. But the other thing is the feedback was they talked about Northeast, a lot of these parents, and they talk about how great the teachers are, how great the program is, how instrumental it was to their children. They did talk that it was overcrowded, and they did talk that the 2-week delay was a burden to them as parents. It's usually 1 to 2 parent working, households, and they would have liked to see it, start more immediately. So I think that we can look into that maybe for next year. And the last thing is, I had talked to the chief of police yesterday about something, and then he asked me, "What's going on with the homecoming? Are you having a homecoming?" I said, "Of course we're having a homecoming." And he said, "But nobody's contacted him. Nobody sent an email, a formal email to request the police be involved. I guess they're the ones that close the streets or whatever. It's supposed to be an email sent. The Board of Trustees are supposed to approve it. They haven't gotten it. So if somebody from the district can please send an email to the chief."
Thank you. Just a couple of things that I feel the need to respond to, but I also want to allow the community to speak because I will take less than 2 minutes on this. In regards to response to emails in regards to Dr. Talbot, she has been very great in responding to emails to the board, to acknowledging emails to the Board of Education. As stated earlier, there was a communication that she sent to us because there's a volume of emails that come in, and she was stating that she will respond to all emails because emails are important, but that everything that's not important, that she would put it in the information at the end of the week. In regards to, I'm not too sure, Ms. Canestro, maybe we can talk about it afterwards, in regards to meeting with the superintendent, with the clerk, and with legal in terms of communication going to the Board of Education. If there's any meeting that I attend, that I do share that information with the Board of Education. And one of the things that, in regards to Northeast, in regards to stakeholders, that was one of the things that Dr. Talbot had initially talked about a while ago, but what she is currently doing, and she can speak for herself, is trying to put things to find out exactly what can the options be, and then move forward in terms of having stakeholders. So she's very much aware of the timeframe. So
Yeah,
I
maybe we could talk about the advisory committee doing something like that. This 402A, this law, that it's a recommendation, just a,
No, I agree. I
Okay.
agree. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that Dr. Talbot has been trying to find different things that can help, not just her, but to keep, along with Mrs. Collins, to keep revenue sources to bring into the school district. So I know she's very much aware of having the stakeholders committee in regards to Northeast. So I don't want to hold the community any longer, but Dr. Talbot's going to say one thing, and then if people want to start lining up for the community, go ahead. I know.
Okay, just
it's 11.
before you come, Mr. Wolf, I was concerned about the tone that has been echoed regarding my communication to the board. My intent is always to be respectful and to acknowledge and prioritize my board. And in Friday's news and notes, it reads, "Dear Board of Education members, I want to acknowledge the importance of your inquiries and assure you that they remain a priority. Due to the significant volume of emails I receive on a daily basis, I have implemented a system to ensure that all non-emergency matters are addressed in a timely and organized manner. Starting immediately, I will include my responses to your non-urgent inquiries in my weekly news and notes, which will be distributed to each of you on Fridays. This method allows me to provide thorough and thoughtful responses while balancing my responsibilities. Of course, any urgent matters will be addressed as they arise. I appreciate your understanding and cooperation as we continue to work effectively." On Thursday, September 19th, I received an email from Trustee Messman
Wait, excuse me,
inquiring
Dr.
about
Talbert, it says
TPS
everything in this
services started.
document is factual and confidential, and you're reading it?
Okay, so I received various requests that came into me on Thursday. The board received their request on Friday, whether they were emergency requests or not. So I don't want you to think that your emails or your inquiries are ever overlooked or purposely not responded to. We are very diligent about getting back to you. I just wanted to give that response and hope that the tone moving forward can be respectful and mutual on both ends. Thank you.
Community input on non-agenda items? Oh, yeah, you go ahead and start the timer for now.
Hi, Patty Deek, 86 Union Avenue. On behalf of a lot of the community members, I just feel like I have a question I have to ask about tonight's meeting and others that I've attended recently. At the 828 Board of Ed meeting, there were multiple presentations causing the meeting to go very late. At that time, there was much discussion regarding the length of the meeting and limiting the number of presentations. Despite this, there were 3 presentations tonight. These presentations sparked much discussion, furthering lengthening the meeting. This issue was further exacerbated by the 30-minute late start. As I sat for the meeting tonight, I watched about 40 to 50% of its original size of the audience was depleted. Again, I have to bring up the issue of transparency that the board has held in high regard. Holding meetings of this magnitude at this late an hour is marginalizing and somewhat disrespectful to all those who not only came out, but to those who are still listening at home. It is confusing to me that an agenda of this size was delivered to all Board of Education members well in advance of tonight, and yet the meeting started 30 minutes late, despite the knowledge that there was enormous ground to cover. I respectfully suggest and ask whether it would be possible to split meetings of this size and importance into 2 shorter, more manageable meetings. And if not, I ask you to consider starting the meeting at an earlier time in order to accommodate all of the community members as well as the educators who have to be at their best and ready for their students very early tomorrow morning, as they were very early this morning. Thank you.
Nakia Wolf, ATA president, what she said. 100 Avalon Court. We used to have 2 meetings and now we have 1. And I know that there was a concerted effort and conversations about making sure that meetings were shorter. But we have not been able to accomplish that. And now we only have 1 a month, I think. So I don't know how we're going to make that work under the structure that it is that already exists. So I'm not going to beat that horse. Good evening, Board of Education, Central Administration, guests, faculty, teachers. Tonight, I stand before you regarding the status of our negotiations. The union has exercised patience as we have submitted several proposals outlining how we would be able to make our district competitive. We have made presentations to the board. We have expressed concerns about whether information was being provided in a way that was not skewed by false narrative. We also raised the question of who we were actually negotiating with. During the negotiations process, we have heard we can't control the fact that it is that you feel the district should have negotiated with you when additional state funding was available and that the district can't afford what it is that you're asking. So what I find humorous about all of this is that we have not been shown anything suggesting that our proposals cannot be supported by the budget. So the question is, have you? Every year, the district budgets for teacher salary increases. Although it is not the expectation for all of those funds to be used, it is the expectation of the ATA, and I'm sure the community who voted for that budget, that those monies be used to make sure that teachers earn salaries that are competitive. Not top salary, not top 10 salary, but competitive, and definitely not bottom 6 on Long Island. So I ask, what are we doing? Is the board aware of how much was budgeted for teacher salaries? What has actually been laid out for you? If we're not making decisions based on information that has been provided for us or to us or shown to us, regarding the values of those proposals, then how are we making informed decisions? Every time a teaching contract is settled on Long Island, it is another blow to our morale. During negotiations, we hear about other school districts. However, only the parts that benefit the district are stressed. The district's representatives do not want to acknowledge what those same school districts do to show their teachers that they are valued. When you had the opportunity to make the necessary changes for Amityville to once again become a district that teachers flock to, you dropped the ball as you continue to drag out negotiations due to a teacher shortage. Expecting us to rely solely upon your words isn't going to work. Negotiating in circles just to say that we are negotiating is a waste of time. If that means that we are at an impasse and have to spend money on a mediator or an arbitrator, then please understand that this is what we're willing to do. Additionally, if the intention is to call a perceived bluff or believe that the moment that you call an impasse will make us take a step back, then you obviously have not been paying attention over the past 5 years to this presidency. It is time for the board to come to the table. Tonight's presentations have been about goals and expectations for our school buildings. I can remember when settling outstanding contracts was a goal of this board. At this rate, you're about to have more expired contracts than those that are settled.
Matt Grice, 85 Craig Road, Islip Terrace. Good evening. As the grievance chair for the Amityville Teachers Association, I am here to address 2 outstanding grievances and a new grievance submitted today. First, we have 2 unresolved grievances related to involuntary transfers. One dates back to spring 2022, and the other from January 2024. The ATA and the district agreed to toll the timeline for the 2022 grievance, aiming to reach an agreement on what constitutes an emergency in such transfers. Unfortunately, this goal remains unmet. The other grievance, filed at step 3 with the Board of Education on March 21st, 2024, has not been addressed as stipulated in our contract, which entitles us to a school board hearing within 15 school days of filing. The district has been non-compliant with our grievance process for almost 6 months. Our NICET LRS submitted a memorandum of agreement in May to resolve both grievances. At a July board meeting, I inquired about the status of this MOA and was assured that district legal would contact our LRS the next day. This did not happen. Last Wednesday at an executive council meeting, we were informed that the superintendent was under the impression that district legal was finalizing these details with our LRS, which also turned out to be incorrect. We have been patient and cooperative in resolving this issue, but our patience has run out. Since the district continues to violate our contract by not granting us a board hearing or responding to our MOA, we are requesting to bypass step 3 and move to arbitration. Unfortunately, this step incurs unnecessary costs for both the ATA and the district, but we see no other recourse at this time. The grievance filed today concerns a reoccurring issue. A member was asked to take on an additional class last May for a teacher on an FMLA leave, becoming the teacher of record for the remainder of the school year. However, she was never board approved to teach the class and has yet to be compensated for her work. While we are under the impression that no one disputes that she deserves to be paid, the process has been dragging out for months. We were told last Wednesday that her name would be on this week's board agenda. It is not. This issue has occurred multiple times over the past few years. Our members are already compensated at lower rates than nearly all neighboring districts. It should not take months to ensure our members are paid for the work they have already completed. This delay only adds to the low morale our members face daily. Finally, I want to remind everyone of the consequences of not settling a contract that makes us more competitive in attracting and retaining highly qualified teachers. It is crucial that we show our staff that they are valued. Former colleagues who have very recently left the district have expressed how difficult that decision was, but they felt overworked, underappreciated, and underpaid, and ultimately had to make the move to better support themselves and their families. They are amazed with the improved culture and support they receive in their new districts. At almost every board meeting, we see more resignations. Ultimately, it is our students who suffer from the loss of their teachers, their administrators, and the support staff. I fear that what we consider rock bottom continues to worsen with each passing day.
Good morning. Oh, sorry, still evening. Barely. Francis O'Brien, 684 Bohemia Parkway. Amityville Teachers Association, Vice President, Political Action. We, the Amityville Teachers Association, are perplexed. In our buildings, we see the district's mission statement, the one you showed on the screen at the beginning of this meeting. The ordinance is clear and concise on creating a quality, caring, educational environment. An environment that fosters respect and ethical behavior, instilling values. In that vein of thought, though, actions speak louder than words. I must ask then how not having a settled contract with the ATA, as well as the AAA and the custodial unit, creates a respectful environment, especially when all of our efforts to move negotiations forward, as my colleague has already stated, has left us standing still. Administration asking and at times even begging teachers to teach a sixth class, which is not only an additional burden on teachers, leading to burnout, then to not compensate that teacher, how is that ethical behavior? May I remind you, the last time I spoke at a board meeting, you had 5 unfilled teacher positions. Again, that's 25 classes that must be covered by other teachers every day. This incurs additional cost to the district and stress to the teachers as they lose time to prepare lessons. Accessing 36 teachers, resulting in larger class sizes, creates a quality education environment? Really? My colleagues already mentioned the grievance file about transfers. At the last minute, transferring teachers to different buildings and expecting them to teach unfamiliar curriculums, if there even is a curriculum, cannot be considered a respectful way to treat teachers. Driving teacher morale so low that we have hit rock bottom cannot possibly create a caring educational environment for students or staff. Finally, allowing Amityville to fall into the bottom 6% of districts in terms of compensation, while other districts have settled their contracts, is deplorable. The result being that over 40 teachers have left Amityville for other districts is a statement in and of itself. That, coupled with 36 teachers excess, means that this district has had a teacher turnover of over 25% in a little over 2 years. So I ask you how these actions measure up to the district's mission statement. It's simple. They don't. And until leadership's actions match its mission statement, things will never improve. My evidence of this is the fact that one of our teachers just resigned yesterday. That is going to be 5 more classes you're going to have to start covering real soon.
I have listed 7 concerns, but I'll only address 3. For the first time, I heard a vote that turned down an increase in expenditure. First time, and we're 1/4 through the budget year, and we're probably still in debt. We have to show some guts and say, yes, we would like to, but we can't. All right? That's the first concern. I picture this. Mommy, I can't attend the dance because I'm too stupid. I don't have the grade necessary. Do we have a grade to participate in sports? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. For JV and varsity. But we're talking about elementary and middle school kids that need some compassion. All right. That was great in the 60s and 70s. I've been around since the 60s and 70s. Having served in 3 school districts, strategic planning was always done by the superintendent and the assistant superintendent. It was not the board. And there are various ways to accomplish that. Yeah, it's a lot of work and it involves a lot of people, but it's their responsibility, not the board's. Once they've completed that, then they report to the board. It seems more like the board is doing the work of the administration rather than the administration doing the work and reporting to the board. For example, the interviewing of auditors, I would assume that's under the business department. Why not? It's financial. okay? It involves money. So those are just three concerns, and because of the hour, I'll stop there. Thank you.
Any additional community comments on non-agenda items? Legal, Dr. Talbot, do you have anything?
Not at this time.
Board, anything else?
No, I think the only thing I want to say is the meetings go late because this is a business meeting in a public setting and we're required to have deliberation in public. So if it goes long, I'm sorry, we apologize, but we are doing our due diligence and doing our job by asking questions and things, and this is the place to do it. We did it behind an executive session. That's not the proper place to do it, and the public has a right to see the deliberations.
Can I have a motion to adjourn at 11:11, please?
Motion.
Chris and then Carol, all those in favor?
Aye.
Megan, I need to find out your bill for Monday. Megan, Wendy. Are you available? For Monday, you're saying? How are you guys doing? Yeah, I was hoping on Monday, I was like, maybe we can stick for Wednesdays, but I'll make Monday work. Wendy, find out about 30.
That's fine. That's